Chapter 107. Cheng Rui silently left the hall on the first floor of the Creation Master Association. He immediately went to the breeding room where his grandfather was in seclusion. Just as he was hesitating if he should open the door to call for his grandfather, Cheng Rui had a complicated expression that was a mixture of resentment and timidity. He gritted his teeth and prepared to push the door, but it opened by itself. An elder with shiny black hair walked out of the door. Cheng Rui didn't expect his grandfather to end his seclusion at this moment and quickly called out. "Grandfather, your hair is completely black after this seclusion. You have improved again." The elder laughed, but his laughter was a little feminine. During this seclusion, the gold ring spine goo has evolved from Fantasy 4 to Fantasy V. I didn't waste 10 years of effort. Cheng Rui had a delighted expression when he heard the elder's words, but he then spoke with a pitiful expression. "Grandfather, take a look at the Creation Master crest on my chest. I didn't succeed in becoming a disciple of the Moon Empress." The elder looked at Cheng Rui's finger and frowned. "The Royal Capital's Creation Master Association has already given you a title when you were a Class 2 Creation Master. They even addressed you as the #1 Creation Master of the younger generation, but you still failed." After speaking, the elder looked at the crest on Cheng Rui's chest and continued, "Also, change the crest on your chest. Also, change the crest on your chest. Wear a normal Class 2 Creation Master crest. I am your grandfather, so why are you wearing this crest to acknowledge me as your master? Finding a master is to give you an additional reliance. Elder Du treats you rather well. I will go and meet Elder Du later and see if he is willing to accept you as a disciple." Cheng Rui took off the crest on his chest embarrassedly. But when his grandfather mentioned Elder Du, Cheng Rui's expression changed. If his grandfather went to meet Elder Du would definitely tell his grandfather about his performance in the Radiant Moon Palace. Cheng Rui would definitely suffer a beating. But now, Cheng Rui hated Lin Yuan to the extreme. He couldn't help but harden his heart. He rolled his eyes and said, "Grandfather, the Moon Empress didn't like me in the Radiant Moon Palace mainly because of a youth that Redbud City's city lordess Ling Xiao brought over." Cheng Wu's eyes contracted as he knew his grandson too well. If there was a grudge, he would have taken it in person. If Ling Xiao was looking for Cheng Rui now, it meant that Cheng Wu couldn't resolve the matter and was asking for help. What kind of background does Ling Xiao have to bring him to the Radiant Moon Palace? Cheng Rui told him about Lin Yuan's background. Lin Yuan's information was not difficult to find. When Lin Yuan had registered as a Class 2 Creation Master, the Redbud City's Creation Master Association already had his simple information. Cheng Wu looked at Cheng Rui. "Can't you deal with a junior Class 2 Creation Master? Do you still need to look for me?" Cheng Rui suddenly squeezed his eyes and squeezed out 2 drops of tears. "Elder Du admires him quite a bit. Just now when I was kicked by him downstairs, Elder Du defended him." After saying that, he lifted up his shirt. After lifting it up, Cheng Rui was startled and cursed Lin Yuan 100 times in his heart. There was a purple footprint on his stomach. Cheng Rui knew that his grandfather was most afraid of him crying. Every time he begged his grandfather like this, there was nothing he couldn't do. Moreover, this wasn't the first time they had sought revenge. Cheng Wu's face darkened as soon as he saw the footprint on Cheng Rui's stomach. He yelled, "That Elder Du invited me to the Royal Capital's Creation Master Association to work, and now he is watching someone bully my grandson. He really doesn't respect me, Cheng Wu." Cheng Wu only had one grandson, and it was Cheng Rui's first fei when he was young. Cheng Wu had let Cheng Rui form a contract with his source-type life form, the gold ring spine goo, and he had suffered a lot. Furthermore, Cheng Rui's parents had passed away when he was young, and as a Class 4 Creation Master, Cheng Wu didn't spend a lot of time with Cheng Rui. Therefore, he had always felt that he owed Cheng Rui. Now that he saw the purple footprint on his grandson's stomach, Cheng Wu's ruthless personality caused his eyes to turn gloomy. Cheng Rui let out a breath of relief in his heart. After seeing his grandfather's expression, Cheng Rui knew that his grandfather would definitely help him take revenge. "Grandfather, don't blame elder do this Lin Yuan kid has rather good talent," Cheng Wu said with a sinister tone. "What's the use of having good talent? Being able to grow up is one's ability. I've taught you before that you either have to endure or be ruthless. Have you forgotten all that?" Cheng Rui quickly said, "Grandfather, I have remembered it. Grandfather, I will remember it. That's why I want to personally trample on him. I want to watch as the spine goo slowly eats through his spine." After exchanging a few sentences, the grandfather and grandson duo left the royal capital's Creation Master Association silently. Right now, Lin Yuan was inspecting the pitiful Fei in his hand. It was a bronze tough leaf chrysanthemum. A healthy tough leaf chrysanthemum was considered a rather good power offense type Fei. The chrysanthemum leaves could be thrown out like a flying knife, causing lacerating damage and having a slight numbing toxicity. The chrysanthemum petals could rapidly gather energy and shoot out the toxic energy. However, the tough leaf chrysanthemum's rhizome had already withered, and the flower looked like it was dehydrated and was drooping. The chrysanthemum's petals had almost fallen off, and only a few petals were left on the stamens. The violent-tempered woman stood nearby and asked Lin Yuan carefully with apprehension. "Master, is there a possibility for this tough leaf chrysanthemum to recover?" When asking this question, the violent-tempered woman's heart tightened. Previously, she had also looked for a creation master and spent half a year to use her connections. She had also spent a lot of money to request for a Class 2 creation master. In the end, the answer was no. She didn't know if the Class 2 creation master found it troublesome to treat it or simply didn't want to. Of course, regardless of the reason, the violent-tempered woman wasn't qualified to go. This was the law of survival between spirit chi professionals and creation masters. Lin Yuan looked at the tough leaf chrysanthemum's condition and nodded without any hesitation. "It can be treated." The tough leaf chrysanthemum might look like it was on the verge of death, but it wasn't a problem for Lin Yuan to treat a bronze Fei with his current ability. With Lin Yuan's current ability, it wasn't a problem for him to treat a bronze Fei with damaged roots. When Lin Yuan was a D-rank spirit chi professional, it was already a piece of cake for him to treat a bronze Fei with damaged roots. It was a good opportunity for him to see how fast he could treat a bronze Fei with damaged roots after becoming a C-rank spirit chi professional. Just as Lin Yuan nodded, the violent-tempered woman suddenly cried. It was as though she had been suppressing herself for a long time. While crying, she was smiling. These were tears of joy that were mixed with sorrow and joy. The eyes of the young girl in the violent-tempered woman's embrace were originally dark and lifeless. But just as Lin Yuan nodded, the young girl's eyes suddenly lit up as she stared fixedly at Lin Yuan. Her face revealed a pleasantly surprised smile. When Lin Yuan saw this smile, he felt moved for a split second. This smile seemed to have the light of surviving a calamity. This made Lin Yuan even more determined to walk on the path of a creation master. The path of a creation master wasn't to stand on a high place and look down on the masses. Instead, it was a path of evolution and salvation that was built behind a smile. Baidu, read the latest chapter of Beast Evolution Merchant Claw Book House for free. Chapter 108. Lin Yuan didn't know what to say to the mother and daughter who were expressing their emotions. Lin Yuan wasn't a person who was adept at handling emotions. Therefore, he didn't know how to console others when they were emotional outbursts. He might as well just say it. Go to the lounge outside the breeding room and wait. I will need some time. Wait for me to repair the tough leaf chrysanthemum's damaged roots before coming in. Right now, the best consolation for the violent-tempered woman and her daughter was for the tough leaf chrysanthemum's damaged roots to recover quickly. When the violent-tempered woman heard Lin Yuan's words, she quickly scratched her head and thanked Lin Yuan repeatedly. She then brought her daughter to the lounge outside the breeding room. At that moment, Lin Yuan calmed his mind and circulated the spiritual power in his body to circulate the spirit qi. He channeled the spirit chi into the withered tough leaf chrysanthemum. During the process of circulating the spirit chi, Lin Yuan could clearly feel that his spirit chi circulation speed was several times faster than before. After the tough leaf chrysanthemum received the nourishment from the spirit chi, it immediately showed changes. The first to recover was the tough leaf chrysanthemum's rhizome. The withered rhizome rapidly grew out white root tissues. In just a short moment, the white root tissues had replaced the withered rhizome. Lin Yuan used his hand to rub, and the withered black rhizome turned into fragments and fell off. The tough leaf chrysanthemum's petals were constantly growing out new petals. In just a short moment, the tough leaf chrysanthemum's petals had more or less recovered. However, the color of the petals was still a little pale. Lin Yuan took a cup of spring water from the breeding room's table and placed the tough leaf chrysanthemum's roots into the spring water before continuing to circulate the spirit chi. In less than 20 minutes, the tough leaf chrysanthemum had recovered its damaged roots. This time, Lin Yuan didn't use the pure land of bliss to recover the tough leaf chrysanthemum. During the Class 2 Creation Master exam, Lin Yuan had used 2 hours. During the Class 2 Creation Master exam, Lin Yuan had used 2 hours to recover the sheer pincer's crab's damaged roots. This was the time Lin Yuan needed to use Morbius' exclusive skill, the Pure Land of Bliss. If he didn't use Morbius' exclusive skill, the Pure Land of Bliss, he would need 4 hours. Right now, without the Pure Land of Bliss, Lin Yuan only needed over 20 minutes to recover the bronze phase damaged roots. In other words, after becoming a C-rank spirit chi professional, the time he needed to recover his bronze phase had been reduced by nearly 10 times. This was also related to the bowl of silver stamen gold luster cassia nectar he had consumed to purify his body's impurities. Even so, it had to be said that after becoming a C-rank spirit chi professional, Lin Yuan's ability as a creation master had undergone a drastic change. If Lin Yuan were to participate in the exam now, he might still be a little inferior to the Class 3 Creation Master exam, but the difference wouldn't be huge. After sensing the tough leaf chrysanthemum's condition, Lin Yuan let out a breath of relief. The tough leaf chrysanthemum's flowers were plump at the moment, and the leaves on the stem were also very large. They were shuttle-shaped, and the edges looked quite sharp. However, this tough leaf chrysanthemum was severely dehydrated due to the damage to its roots. Even now, it still needed a lot of water. At this time, the tough leaf chrysanthemum had already absorbed more than half of the spring water. Lin Yuan continued to circulate his spiritual power. He originally wanted to assist the tough leaf chrysanthemum to quickly replenish its water, but he felt that he had vaguely encountered a rather obvious boundary. Lin Yuan was very familiar with this boundary. Lin Yuan observed the tough leaf chrysanthemum. It turned out that this tough leaf chrysanthemum was already a 10-star bronze fei, and it was just a step away from silver. Now that Lin Yuan felt this boundary, he might as well quickly circulate his spiritual power. He pushed the spiritual power towards this boundary. Soon enough, just as the spiritual power broke through this boundary, the bronze tough leaf chrysanthemum was extending and evolving. It grew from 30 centimeters to over half a meter, and its branches and leaves had also become more luxuriant. The newly grown stem was filled with new leaves, and there was originally only 1 flower. Now, there were 8 flower buds on the newly grown stem, and the flower buds were slowly unfolding. However, the newly grown tough leaf chrysanthemum's flower was much smaller than the previous one. Lin Yuan believed that as long as he nurtured it for a period of time, these flowers would grow to the same size. Lin Yuan used true data to look at the tough leaf chrysanthemum and couldn't help but reveal a satisfied smile. Fei name, tough leaf chrysanthemum, Fei species, chrysanthemum genus/chrysanthemum family, Fei grade, silver, 110, Fei type, grass, Fei quality, normal abilities frowny face leaf blade, the leaves on the stem shoot out and perform long-range physical damage. Flower bud cannon, the flower condenses energy to launch a toxic energy attack. Corrosion flower petals, the petals scatter to perform an area of effect attack. The petals have paralyzing and corrosive properties. Exclusive skill frowny face increased toxicity, strengthens the body's toxicity, allowing the body's poison effects to deepen. The tough leaf chrysanthemum was a fae that relied on its own toxicity to kill other faes apart from some simple physical attacks. However, the tough leaf chrysanthemum's poison only had paralyzing properties. When combined with the bronze exclusive skill, increased toxicity, the tough leaf chrysanthemum would be able to produce decent damage. The silver ability, corrosion flower petals, allowed the tough leaf chrysanthemum's poison system to add a corrosive property to the paralyzing poison. When combined with the exclusive skill, increased toxicity, the tough leaf chrysanthemum's attack would immediately increase by a notch. The paralyzing poison would only have a control effect, and its lethality would be very weak. However, the corrosive poison would be fatal. The silver ability was able to produce a very good area of effect attack, and it could be used with the leaf blade or the flower bud cannon. It could be said that the tough leaf chrysanthemum's evolution was very successful. Lin Yuan's objective for coming to the Creation Master Association was to promise the violent-tempered woman to heal her daughter's fae. Now, he had fulfilled the promise. Lin Yuan felt that it was rather troublesome to use the breeding room in the Creation Master Association. Therefore, if he was going to accept another request to heal faes with damaged roots, he would have to wait until his store was officially opened. Right now, Lin Yuan was still mainly accepting requests for custom-made faes or precious faes nurturing and sales. From there, he could quickly accumulate radiance dollars. Cultivation itself was a process of not advancing or regressing. Everything in the world was progressing, so if you were stuck at a standstill, you would be regressing. Lin Yuan called the violent-tempered woman and her daughter in. After entering the breeding room, the violent-tempered woman and her daughter were rather nervous. However, when the duo saw the huge tough leaf chrysanthemum on the breeding room's table, they fell into a daze. It looked as though they had seen it before but was completely different from before. Lin Yuan smiled and said to the violent-tempered woman, "You can't even recognize your own fae? You can't even recognize your own fae?" Baidu clicked on the latest chapter of the Beast Evolution Merchant Claw Book House and read it for free. Chapter 109. The hot-tempered daughter was stunned and urged her spiritual force. The tough leaf chrysanthemum on the table was taken back into the spiritual space without any obstruction. The hot-tempered daughter was surprised at first, but then she opened her mouth and said in surprise, "This tough leaf chrysanthemum is obviously bronze, but now it has actually become silver." Lin Yuan nodded. The potential of this tough leaf chrysanthemum is not bad. The lethality of a silver rank skill is not bad. Coupled with the other skills of the tough leaf chrysanthemum, the tough leaf chrysanthemum has been improved in all aspects. The next time I encounter a horned demon, I won't suffer any damage to its origin. The violent-tempered woman hurriedly bowed to Lin Yuan and thanked him repeatedly before taking out the revival soil that she had prepared. But he also said with some embarrassment, "Master, this is the resuscitation soil that we agreed upon earlier. A pack is 500 grams, but I managed to get some extra, so this pack is 600 grams in total. However, I haven't prepared the reward for upgrading the tough leaf chrysanthemum from bronze to silver, so I'm not sure if you can give me a few more days." Lin Yuan took the revival soil and waved his hand. "The extra 100 grams of revival soil is more than enough for you to pay me. Besides, it was my own decision to help the tough leaf chrysanthemum evolve to silver. I didn't ask for your opinion beforehand, so I don't need any more compensation." A bag of revival soil wasn't cheap. It was extremely beneficial to plant-type phase, so its price wasn't any lower than gold-grade dragon beast blood. This bag of 600 grams of revival soil would probably cost close to 300 radiance dollars. The price of a bronze fae that could heal damaged roots might be lower than other creation masters, but it wasn't much lower. The violent-tempered woman must have spent a lot of effort to find this bag of revival soil. After saying that, he did not give the violent-tempered woman and her daughter a chance to thank him. Lin Yuan had already left the breeding room with the revival soil. The violent-tempered woman's daughter was completely immersed in the joy of the Fae's recovery and evolution, but the violent-tempered woman's eyes were moist again. Living in the capital seemed to be glorious, but who could understand the pain and pressure of an ordinary woman raising her daughter without experiencing it for themselves? Countless indifference caused the violent-tempered woman to wear a mask on her face. The mask was hard to protect the weak body behind it. But now, he felt a warm ray of light that was peaceful and full of strength. A young and talented creation master actually had such a kind nature. This kind of nature was extremely rare and precious even at a glance. Lin Yuan walked out of the royal capital's Creation Master Association's entrance, and before he even took a few steps, he heard someone calling out to him from behind. Lin Yuan turned around and noticed that the person who had called out to him was Elder Du. Old Man Du quickly came over and said with a laugh. "Leaving so soon? I will give you this card. The next time you come to the Royal Capital's Creation Master Association, just take this card, and the lobby's receptionist will bring you to me. In the future, if you have any matters, I will bring you along to do them." Lin Yuan received the card from Elder Du. Lin Yuan naturally wouldn't refuse a gift from an elder. However, Lin Yuan didn't plan to return to the Royal Capital's Creation Master Association. However, Lin Yuan said, "Don't worry. I'll have to trouble you, Elder Du. Elder Du is usually so busy, this junior naturally wouldn't dare to disturb you." As Elder Du looked at Lin Yuan, the smile on his face grew brighter. Ever since Lin Yuan had rescued him from the Radiant Moon Palace, coupled with his unhurried bearing and his talent to pass the Class 2 Creation Master exam, Elder Du had been admiring Lin Yuan more and more. He couldn't help but compare Qing Rui in his heart and felt that Qing Rui was completely inferior. When he thought of the Fengyang title that he had personally bestowed upon Lin Yuan, Elder Du felt a burning pain on his face. After bidding farewell to Elder Du, Lin Yuan looked at the time and realized that it was only 10 in the morning. The appointed time to meet Lu Jia was at 3 in the afternoon, and there were still 5 hours in between. Lin Yuan didn't have any other arrangements, so he simply contacted Lu Jia. After making the call, Lin Yuan found out that Lu Jia was currently looking at a house in the royal capital's suburbs. The house was located in a rather remote location in the suburbs, but the environment was beautiful. Rather than calling it a house, it was actually a plot of land that occupied nearly 5,000 square meters. There was also a small man-made lake beside the land, and the water in the lake was mountain spring water that was drawn down from the mountains. The surrounding greenery was also very good, and it was considered a place with great scenery. Due to the remoteness, this huge plot of land wasn't considered too expensive. Lin Yuan decided to meet Lu Jia in advance and take a look at this plot of land. After asking for the location, Lin Yuan booked a special transportation tool in the royal capital, the Wind Pigeon. The Wind Travel Pigeon was a flying fae unique to the royal capital, and it was very difficult to tame. A special Windwalk Pigeon trainer was required. After 2 years of training, the Windwalk Pigeon could officially carry passengers. The Wind Travel Pigeon was a very popular flying type fae in the royal capital. Its specialty was that it didn't require anyone to pilot it. The trainer of the Wind Travel Pigeons only needed to tell the Wind Travel Pigeons where to pick up people and where to send them. The Wind Travel Pigeon was a silver fae that had evolved from a carrier pigeon before the Spirit Chi awakening. The flying speed was not considered fast, but it was not cheap. A round trip would cost 0.5 radiance dollars. But now that he was in the royal capital, he had to try out the specialties of the royal capital. It was said that sitting on the back of the wind pigeon was more comfortable than lying on the softest bed. Lin Yuan did not wait for long before a white pigeon with a wingspan of nearly 3 meters stopped beside him. Lin Yuan walked forward and showed the order on the mobile phone screen to Wind Pigeon. The Wind Travel Pigeon immediately shook its wings and placed them on the ground, indicating for Lin Yuan to step on its wings and get on its back. When Lin Yuan sat on the Wind Travel Pigeon's back, he felt that the feathers on the Wind Travel Pigeon's back were thin and soft. They didn't feel like ordinary feathers and were somewhat like smooth, superior silk. The wind travel pigeon didn't fly high or fast, but its speed was more than 5 times faster than the speed-hoofed donkey cart. Another specialty of the wind travel pigeon was its sightseeing nature. Its purpose might be to hurry, but it could allow the people on its back to enjoy the royal capital's beautiful scenery. After flying out of the royal capital's city area, Lin Yuan arrived at the northern suburbs of the royal capital. Based on the wind travel pigeon's speed, it would take around 10 minutes to reach the agreed location with Lu Jie. Lin Yuan looked at the scenery of the royal capital's suburbs. The wind travel pigeon flew at a height of around 25 meters, and the towering greenery in the royal capital's suburbs, such as willows, could even grow up to 20 meters. When flying at such a low altitude and breathing, his lungs would be filled with the fragrance of plants. At that moment, the wind travel pigeon suddenly let out 2 intense coos. Immediately after, Lin Yuan saw a gray energy beam strike the wind travel pigeon's left wing. The beam's impact was extremely strong, and Lin Yuan felt a burst of pressure. The wind travel pigeon's left wing and the left side of its body exploded with a mist of blood. Baidu, go read the latest chapter of Beast Evolution Merchant Claw Book House for free. Chapter 110. After encountering such a sudden attack, the wind travel pigeon quickly flapped its right wing and cooed as it descended. When it was descending, the wind travel pigeon even turned around to look at Lin Yuan anxiously. When it was 3 to 4 meters above the ground, the wind travel pigeon seemed to have lost all its strength. At the final moment, the wind travel pigeon flipped its right wing to protect Lin Yuan. It then fell on the ground, bringing up dust, and was dead. In fact, when the wind travel pigeon flipped its right wing to protect Lin Yuan in mid-air, it had already lost its life. From a high altitude to its final defense, it was actually to protect a stranger. It was all because of a fae that remembered the trainer's mission and the wind travel pigeon's professionalism as a flying fae. Lin Yuan was protected by the wind travel pigeon's right wing, and with its body acting as a buffer, he didn't suffer any serious injuries. However, the impact of falling from a high altitude made Lin Yuan slightly uncomfortable. Lin Yuan already understood that he had been targeted. Lin Yuan didn't usually incur enmity with others, so the person that ambushed him could only be Cheng Rui. When Lin Yuan came out from under the wind travel pigeon's right wing, he saw the wind travel pigeon lying on the ground with its eyes closed forever. Its left wing and body were injured from the explosion, and with the impact of falling to the ground, the wind travel pigeon's remaining body was in an abnormally sorry state. At that moment, Lin Yuan heard an arrogant and vicious voice. "You didn't expect it, right? If you dare to kick me, I will take your life." Cheng Rui spoke in a sinister tone. Lin Yuan saw an elder standing beside Cheng Rui, and the elder also had a gloomy expression. The elder's facial features were rather similar to Cheng Rui's. A multi-legged insect species fae that was the length of a forearm was crawling on the elder's shoulder. It was obvious that the earlier gray energy was emitted by this insect species fae. When Lin Yuan saw this insect species fae, it looked rather familiar. It was obvious that this insect species fae was an enlarged version of the spine goo. However, this spine goo had more golden rings on its body compared to the spine goo that Cheng Rui had summoned during the duel. These rings were gold in color and looked very strange on the sinister spine goo. Lin Yuan didn't hesitate and immediately circulated his spiritual power to summon Red Thorn and Chimey. At the same time, he transformed his intelligence tool into a pair of glasses and wore them on his face. At this moment, the elder beside Cheng Rui said to Cheng Rui, "You can't even defeat such an ant whose strongest combat power is only a bronze fae? You actually still need to look for me. If not for the fact that you want to take revenge personally, the gold ring spine goo would have easily blasted this kid and that unlucky wind travel pigeon into smithereens." Cheng Rui summoned his fae, a gold spine goo. The gold spine goo crawled out from Cheng Rui's mouth, causing him to grimace in pain. "Grandpa, if it weren't for someone protecting him, I would have taken care of him long ago." Cheng Wu urged with a frown. "Then hurry up and make your move. This is the royal capital's suburbs, after all. If you don't hurry up and make a move on a Class 2 Creation Master, it will definitely cause a commotion. Every Creation Master was the Radiance Federation's wealth, so killing a Creation Master wasn't a small matter in the Radiance Federation. Cheng Rui sneered as he stepped forward and looked at Lin Yuan. With your Creation Master talent, you are qualified to be brought to the Radiant Moon Palace. Not bad. Elder Du is also protecting you, but when your talent is destroyed and your limbs are removed, I want to see what else you can be proud of. At this moment, Lin Yuan released the Spirit Gather Goldfish's exclusive skill, Spirit Chi Imprint. During this period of time, the Bronze Spirit Gather Goldfish's accumulated Spirit Chi suddenly burst out from the Spirit Chi Imprint on Lin Yuan's back. At the same time, Chimey quickly released Turbulence. It also used Sound Thrust to attack Cheng Rui. Lin Yuan poured all the spiritual power in his body into Red Thorn's body. Red Thorn's sharp vines were covered with barbed spikes, and they rapidly grew to wrap around Cheng Rui. Lin Yuan's body had a massive amount of spirit chi, allowing Red Thorn's vines to instantly grow to nearly 20 meters in length. Just as Lin Yuan's all-out attack was about to hit Cheng Rui, he heard a cold snort. The gold ring spine goo on Cheng Wu's shoulder let out a roar. A pale gray energy turned all of Lin Yuan's attacks into nothingness. The gray energy severely injured Red Thorn, Chimey, and Genius. Genius couldn't even maintain tool transformation and fell beside Lin Yuan's shoulder. Lin Yuan felt intense pain all over his body, and a warm current surged up in his abdomen. He then spat out a mouthful of blood. Lin Yuan already knew that he was doomed and had no room to resist. Therefore, he used all his strength to attack Cheng Rui. However, he did not expect that his all-out attack would be overturned by the gold ring spine goo's energy. Cheng Rui was drenched in cold sweat. Lin Yuan's sudden attack was right in front of him and had nearly killed him. This made Cheng Rui alarmed and afraid, and the resentment in his eyes intensified. Cheng Rui did not expect that his carelessness would nearly result in his death by Lin Yuan's attack. Cheng Rui's fright instantly turned into monstrous hatred. This hatred dyed the resentment with the color of madness as he shouted. If I don't pierce your spine with the spine goo, my surname isn't Cheng. You can slowly die in the pain of the spine goo gnawing on your spine. Lin Yuan struggled to get up from the ground. The intense pain in his body made Lin Yuan feel as though he could fall down at any moment. Lin Yuan used his hand to wipe the bloodstain at the corner of his mouth. This action affected his internal injuries, causing Lin Yuan to spit out another mouthful of blood. At the same time, the severely injured Chimey, Genius, and Red Thorn stood up. They looked at Cheng Wu and Cheng Rui, who were in an attacking stance. Cheng Rui went forward and kicked at Lin Yuan, but before Cheng Rui's leg could touch Lin Yuan, Red Thorn spat out a mouthful of corrosive liquid. Cheng Rui was already prepared. He brandished the spine goo's leg blade to block Red Thorn's attack and even severed several of Red Thorn's vines. But just as the spine goo attacked Red Thorn, Chimey let out a weak chirp. At such a close distance, 3 sound thrusts flew at Cheng Rui. It gave Cheng Rui a fright. However, a strong wind blocked Chimey's sound thrusts. At the same time, Lin Yuan, Chimey, Genius, and Red Thorn were sent flying a few meters away. Lin Yuan struggled to stand up again, but he couldn't. He looked at Red Thorn, Genius, and Chimey, who were also sprawled on the ground. Lin Yuan circulated the remaining spiritual power in his body. He recalled Genius, Chimey, and Red Thorn back into his spiritual spatial zone. Lin Yuan looked at the noon sun in the sky and felt that the sun wasn't as glaring as it usually was. At this life and death juncture, Lin Yuan suddenly felt that the wind beside his ears was very light. Cheng Wu frowned as he looked at Cheng Rui with a disappointed expression. You nearly died in the hands of this ant twice. Don't you understand the logic of a lion using its full strength to capture a rabbit? Let me teach you another logic, and that is what it means to be quick and hateful. Just as Cheng Wu finished his statement, the sinister gold ring spine goo on Cheng Wu's shoulder rapidly shrunk and flew towards Lin Yuan's spine with an ear-piercing sound. At that moment, Lin Yuan suddenly saw that the imperial capital's sky seemed to darken at once. A new moon hung high in the sky, and its radiance nearly covered the noon sun. A shocked and angry voice exploded in the sky. "How dare you!" Baidu clicked on the latest chapter of Beast Evolution Merchant Claw Book House and read it for free. Chapter 111. At noon, the sun was shining brightly in the sky. A bright moon shone brightly in the sky, its moonlight shining like silk. At that moment, several experts in the royal capital lifted their heads at the same time. They looked at the cold moon that covered the sun in the sky. One of them looked like he was in his 30s, but his eyes revealed the vicissitudes of life. He was holding an emerald bamboo and frowning with an aghast expression. "It's the Moon Empress Cold Moon Lone Disc." The Moon Empress Fei, the Cold Moon Lone Disc, specialized in killing. What exactly made the Moon Empress take out the Cold Moon Lone Disc? Beside the man holding the emerald bamboo was a middle-aged man in red armor who was holding a black chess piece. However, just as the cold moon soared into the sky, the black chess piece landed on the chessboard and disrupted the black and white chess pieces on the chessboard, disrupting the chess game that was about to determine the victor. Bamboo Monarch, has the Moon Empress Cold Moon Lone Disc reached the myth stage? Just by looking at the might of the Cold Moon Lone Disc, I wonder how much stronger it is compared to back then. The Bamboo Monarch held the emerald bamboo and spoke with a grave expression. "You know the Moon Empress temper. Once the Cold Moon Lone Disc appears, I'm afraid something big will happen." While speaking, the Bamboo Monarch had already turned into an afterimage and headed toward the place where the cold moon's brilliance was shining. The man in red armor was also like a phantom as he followed the Bamboo Monarch toward the moonlight. The Spirit Guard's headquarters was considered the place with the strongest combat strength in the royal capital. Several people with Spirit Guards badges were walking in and out of the Spirit Guards headquarters. In the chief hall of the Spirit Guards headquarters, a thin and masked woman's eyes flashed. Through the window, she looked at the cold moon and said, "The distant sky, the high moon. The distant sky, the moon high up in the sky. You have restrained your brilliance for 10 years. Why are you making a move now? I hope it won't be like back then." After speaking, the black-clothed woman vanished from the chief hall. A few pieces of paper fell from the table and looked lonely. In the royal capital's Radiance Royal Court, an elder was sitting on the throne. There were two middle-aged men sitting on the left and right of the throne, and they were equally imposing. The elder looked at the sudden appearance of the cold moon and tapped the table with his fingers while holding his forehead. He turned his head and looked at the two middle-aged men on his left and right. After pondering for a while, he said to the man on his left with a cold expression, "Iron Prison, go and see what's going on. Why is the Moon Empress so angry? Thousands of fallen trees and thousands of mountains, the sky is vast, and the moon is clear on the river. The Moon Empress's radiant moon's wrath must not burn like it did 10 years ago." The golden-armored man stood up from his seat on the left and said coldly, "Yes." Then, the left-hand seat was empty. The golden-armored man had disappeared. The man on the right-hand seat who seemed to have a smiling face couldn't help but ask, "Let Iron Prison go. You know Iron Prison's temperament. Aren't you afraid that Iron Prison will anger the Moon Empress even more?" The old man glanced at the man on his right who seemed to have a smiling face and said, "Cicada Ming, if it wasn't for Iron Prison, the person who infuriated the Moon Empress wouldn't have any chance of survival." The smiling man said indifferently, "The Moon Empress won't get angry easily. The appearance of the Cold Moon Lone Disc has already shown her killing intent. Anyone who dares to provoke the Moon Empress will naturally have to pay the price, even if it is Iron Prison. Therefore, I better go and take a look." The old man went silent for a moment and nodded. The moment the old man nodded, the smiling man disappeared from his seat. A loud explosion echoed in the sky as the moonlight from the cold moon shone down. Lin Yuan felt that the moonlight's radiance seemed to have healing effects. In just a moment, the pain in his body and the intense burning pain in his body slowly disappeared with the moonlight's nourishment. However, Qing Rui and Cheng Wu felt completely different. Cheng Rui and the spine goo on Cheng Rui's body instantly turned into nothingness when the moonlight shone on them. Cheng Wu's diamond/fantasy V gold ring spine goo was also fixed in midair by the moonlight and was unable to move. Even though the gold ring spine goo was a diamond/fantasy V source-type life form, the cold moonlight shone on its body. Even though the gold ring spine goo was a diamond/fantasy V source-type life form, its tentacles, legs, and carapace were gradually turned into nothingness by the moonlight's radiance. Cheng Wu's body was also undergoing a miraculous transformation under the moonlight's radiance. Cheng Wu felt his body burning, but the burning didn't feel any pain. However, Cheng Wu could clearly feel his body's cells constantly disappearing. In just a moment, 3 of his left hand's fingers had already turned into nothingness. Cheng Wu immediately shouted, "Moon Empress, please show mercy. I don't know what mistake I have made. Moon Empress, please show mercy." The Moon Empress actually came personally. A woman in moonlight robes stood in midair under the moonlight's radiance. In the blink of an eye, she was already standing beside Lin Yuan. On the woman in the moonlight robes was a little rabbit that was eating a carrot. The little rabbit took a glance at Lin Yuan and scuttled onto his body. It used its little claws to scratch the carrot for a long time before grabbing a small piece of carrot skin. It looked at the carrot skin with heartache and looked at Lin Yuan with disdain. When it raised its head and saw the Moon Empress looking at it, the little rabbit reluctantly placed the carrot skin into Lin Yuan's mouth. In an instant, Lin Yuan's body, which was constantly recovering under the moonlight's radiance, was completely healed. Lin Yuan could still strongly feel that his body had immediately recovered to its peak state as soon as the radish skin entered his mouth. Even Red Thorn, Chimey, and Genius, which were injured in his spiritual spatial zone, were instantly healed. When the little rabbit saw that Lin Yuan had recovered, it immediately pried open Lin Yuan's mouth. It took out the carrot skin from Lin Yuan's mouth and rubbed it on its body before carefully pasting it on the carrot. Lin Yuan stood up and saw the Moon Empress looking at him with eyes filled with concern. Before Lin Yuan could speak, the Moon Empress spoke with self-reproach. "When you went out, I should have gotten Cold Moon or Black Moon to follow you. I was negligent. I didn't expect someone to actually dare to make a move in the royal capital's suburbs." As the word, "make a move," came out, the Moon Empress' commanding aura was accompanied by the moonlight, as though it was going to shatter the rainbow that pierced through the sun. Cheng Wu was currently circulating all the spiritual power in his body in an attempt to resist the all-pervasive moonlight. He wanted to summon the Fantasy V Gold Ring Spine Goo, but the Gold Ring Spine Goo, which was immobilized by the moonlight, didn't move at all. When the Moon Empress was speaking to Lin Yuan, Cheng Wu's entire body was drenched. The fear that was emitted from the depths of his soul occupied his mind, and he immediately knelt on the ground. Everything that he wanted to say couldn't be said. When Cheng Rui was evaporated by the moonlight, Cheng Wu's heart was alarmed and sorrowful. But now, Cheng Wu was gnashing his teeth with hatred for his own grandson. Cheng Rui actually sought revenge on the Moon Empress. That seemingly insignificant kid actually had a powerful background like the Moon Empress. If it was during normal times, Cheng Wu wouldn't even have the time to curry favor with her. Now, he had actually taken the initiative to bump into the muzzle of the most untouchable existence in this world. Baidu was the first to read the latest chapter of Beast Evolution Merchant Claw Bookhouse for free. Chapter 112. The Moon Empress looked at Cheng Wu, who was kneeling on the ground, and raised her hand expressionlessly. The Fantasy V Gold Ring Spine Goo let out a mournful wail when it was entangled by the silky moonlight. Even if the Gold Ring Spine Goo was a Diamond Fantasy V Fey, it couldn't even put up any resistance against the silk-like moonlight. He even wanted to let out a sorrowful cry, but the sound was completely stuck in his throat by the moonlight, and he couldn't spit out a single sound. Under the tranquil and beautiful moonlight hid the most merciless and sharp killing intent. The Moon Empress didn't give Cheng Wu any chance to explain. However, when Cheng Wu felt the state of the gold ring spine goo, he felt a little distressed. He forcefully propped himself up and kowtowed repeatedly. I beg the Moon Empress to spare my life. I, Cheng Wu, am willing to serve the Moon Empress for the rest of my life. The Moon Empress' face was bone-chilling, but her voice was still gentle. However, her gentle voice revealed unreserved killing intent. The Moon Empress paused before continuing. When you wanted to kill this Empress disciple, you should have known that those who kill will be killed. You're not worthy of obeying this consort's orders. Repent under this moonlight. When Cheng Wu heard the Moon Empress' words, his eyes immediately turned sluggish. He even forgot to circulate his spirit chi for a moment. Under the moonlight, one of his arms disintegrated into nothingness. The Moon Empress didn't conceal the killing intent in her words, and Cheng Wu knew that he couldn't escape this calamity. Cheng Wu didn't expect that the kid he viewed as an ant was actually the Moon Empress disciple. If it was some other relationship, he might be able to keep his life. He had just made a move on the Moon Empress disciple, and it was a lethal blow. Had it not been for the Moon Empress obstruction, Lin Yuan's spine would have been hollowed out by the gold ring spine goo. At this thought, Cheng Wu's heart turned to ashes. Just as Cheng Wu felt like he was about to disappear under the moonlight, an emerald green bamboo leaf suddenly appeared and hovered above his head. The emerald green bamboo leaves emitted a bright green light, helping Cheng Wu block the moonlight. But after a few seconds, under the dense moonlight, the bamboo leaf also gradually disappeared. Finally, after a few seconds, it also completely disappeared under the moonlight. A white-clothed middle-aged man holding an emerald green bamboo appeared beside Cheng Wu. He kicked Cheng Wu's body and sent him flying over a dozen meters away, allowing Cheng Wu to leave the place with the densest moonlight. Shortly after, a man clad in crimson armor appeared beside Cheng Wu. With a wave of his hand, he used his spiritual power to help Cheng Wu resist the moonlight, which was not too dense. Empress, the Empress quickly said. Moon Empress, if the moonlight emitted by the cold moon lone will continues shining, Cheng Wu will truly vanish. I hope that Moon Empress will reconsider. As he spoke, the crimson-armored man shot out another streak of spiritual chi, which landed on Cheng Wu's body. The spiritual power circulated through Cheng Wu's body for a while, but Cheng Wu's injuries did not heal at all. A look of shock appeared on the red-armored man's face. He had long heard of the Moon Empress Cold Moon Lone Disc's incredible tactical characteristics. Wu might was a, and on, he, and suddenly, he, Wu, moon, out, he, and, he, and, moon, Cheng Wu might be a pinnacle class for creation master, but his contracted Fei was only a source-type life form. Cheng Wu's contracted gold ring spine goo was able to enhance a creation master's abilities, but it wasn't proficient in combat. However, it was still a diamond fantasy V source-type life form. It couldn't resist the moonlight at all. The crimson-armored man's heart trembled at this thought. Although his combat ability was much stronger than Cheng Wu's, he couldn't help but wonder how long he could withstand the moonlight and the cold moon hanging high in the sky. When the Moon Empress saw that someone had suddenly appeared to protect Cheng Wu, she couldn't help but frown. Just as the Moon Empress was frowning, the moonlight that filled the sky faintly showed signs of boiling. At this moment, the man with the bamboo in his hand coughed and said, Moon Empress, Cheng Wu is a pinnacle class for creation master after all. Even if Cheng Wu really offended the Moon Empress has already punished him. One of Cheng Wu's hands is gone, so can you give this lord some face and spare Cheng Wu's life? As soon as the bamboo monarch finished speaking, he saw the Moon Empress' expression and silently cursed. The Moon Empress' hands weaved the sky, and the moonlight shuttled back and forth in her hands, bringing with it the coldness of the moon. The Moon Empress sneered. Give face to you, bamboo monarch? When did I, the Moon Empress, give face to others? Could it be that bamboo monarch wants your purple bamboo forest to have the same sun and moon in the sky for a month? The Moon Empress' three questions caused the bamboo monarch to reveal a helpless expression. However, the bamboo monarch knew the Moon Empress' temper very well. It was probably impossible for the Moon Empress to spare Cheng Wu on his account. But even so, after the bamboo monarch glanced at Cheng Wu, he frowned slightly and said in a serious tone. Every pinnacle class 4 creation master is the Radiance Federation's wealth. Therefore, this lord wishes to ask the Moon Empress to show mercy again. The Moon Empress said coldly. The Radiance Federation's wealth? Since when could the Radiance Federation's wealth make a move on a young Class 2 creation master? This kind of wealth has already decayed. The bamboo monarch then looked at Lin Yuan, who was standing beside the Moon Empress. He looked at the bloodstains on Lin Yuan's body and the dark red blood on the ground. It was obvious that the blood hadn't dried up yet, and the blood was bright red. It was obvious that his internal organs had ruptured, causing him to vomit blood. The bamboo monarch used his peripheral vision to glance at Cheng Wu. The disgust in his eyes was self-evident as he spoke to Lin Yuan in a gentle voice. This young friend, Cheng Wu, made a move on you, but the Moon Empress stopped him. How about I get Cheng Wu to compensate you with some spiritual ingredients and treasures? I will make the decision and resolve their hatred. He will not find trouble with you in the future. Lin Yuan was originally shocked that he actually saw the Class 5 creation master, the bamboo monarch. 2 of the 3 Class 5 creation masters of the Radiance Federation had already appeared. However, when Lin Yuan heard the bamboo monarch's words, he felt as though he was bathing in the spring breeze. Addressing him as a young friend might sound cordial, but could Lin Yuan really reject such words? Before Lin Yuan could speak, the Moon Empress' hand radiated with brilliance as she clenched her fist. The Fantasy V gold ring spine goo was originally enveloped by the moonlight, but now, the moonlight suddenly surged and became restless. The restless moonlight sublimated the diamond/Fantasy V gold ring spine goo into the air. It turned into an untraceable speck of dust. Can I understand that the bamboo monarch is making things difficult for this Empress disciple? When meat rots, worms emerge. When fish wither, caves appear. What is rotten must be removed. Don't tell me Mr. Bamboo is still thinking of making flowers bloom from rotten wood. Baidu read the latest chapter of Beast Evolution Merchant Claw Bookhouse for free. Chapter 113. When Lin Yuan heard the Moon Empress' words, he felt warmth in his heart. The bamboo monarch's words might be gentle, but they were unquestionable. A single statement from the Moon Empress had completely protected him. When the bamboo monarch found out that the youth standing beside the Moon Empress was the Moon Empress disciple, his face revealed a trace of astonishment. He smiled and said, "Congratulations to the Moon Empress for obtaining an outstanding disciple." At that moment, the bamboo monarch knew that it was useless no matter what he said. Cheng Wu's attack on the Moon Empress disciple was simply courting death. The Moon Empress had sublimated Cheng Wu's source-type life form, the gold ring spine goo, under the moonlight. The bamboo monarch didn't stop it. However, after the gold ring spine goo vanished, Cheng Wu's originally pale face turned even paler, and he was covered in fine cold sweat. The gold ring spine goo's death had caused Cheng Wu's spiritual energy to suffer severe damage. At that moment, Cheng Wu wasn't just suffering from physical injuries, but the damage to his spiritual energy was making him wish he was dead. At that moment, there was a charming voice that echoed from the sky. A masked, black-robed woman was stepping on the air and approaching. The Moon Empress sure has a good method to sublimate this gold ring spine goo. Cheng Wu only contracted this source-type life form in his entire life, and now that the gold ring spine goo is dead, I wonder if the Moon Empress' anger has subsided. The black-robed woman's face was covered, and her expression couldn't be seen clearly. However, she looked at the Moon Empress with a rather complicated expression. The Moon Empress lifted her head and looked at the black-robed woman with a complicated expression. Her expression didn't change. What does this Empress anger have to do with you? Why isn't the chief guard presiding over the spirit guards? Are you really free to come here? Lin Yuan lifted his head and looked at the sky. This black-robed woman was actually the chief guard of the spirit guards, and she was a top-notch expert. The black-robed woman was already standing beside the bamboo monarch and said, "Moon Empress, this punishment is enough. It is no longer the time when you were young. You are already a Class 5 Creation Master and the Radiance Federation's pillar. You have to be fair with rewards and punishments." Just as the black-robed woman finished speaking, an intense spirit chi fluctuation came. The golden-armored middle-aged man was already standing next to the crimson-armored man. He walked past the crimson-armored man and picked up Cheng Wu, who was lying on the ground. Chief Guard Yi is right. Cheng Wu is a pinnacle Class 4 Creation Master certified by the Creation Master Association. Even if he is in the wrong, he needs to be judged first before the reward and punishment can be decided. Now that the Moon Empress has already punished him, leave the rest to me. The red-armored man had already appeared in front of the bamboo monarch in a flash. He hurriedly distanced himself from the golden-armored man and cursed inwardly. Why is Iron Prison here? Since he dared to speak to the Moon Empress in this manner, wasn't he just asking for trouble? With Iron Prison's way of doing things, he would probably be too rigid and easy to break after encountering the moon. The red-armored man glanced at Bamboo Monarch and realized that Bamboo Monarch's expression wasn't good when he looked at Iron Prison. He did not know that the Bamboo Monarch was cursing in his heart. Iron Prison's way of doing things was so direct that there was no order to it at all. His straightforwardness could be said to be forceful, but if he were to use his forcefulness against the Moon Empress, then what was he if not an iron fool? The Moon Empress disciple had nearly been killed by Cheng Wu, and now that Iron Prison was here, he actually objected to the Moon Empress orders. Even he didn't dare to do so. Cheng Wu had also returned to his senses and recalled that he was still an esteemed pinnacle Class 4 Creation Master, and he was still very useful to the Radiance Federation. Thinking of this, Cheng Wu's heart lit up, and he looked at the golden-armored man who was grabbing him. "Lord Iron Prison, please save me." Then, he turned to look at the Moon Empress. "Moon Empress, I, Cheng Wu, know my mistake. I am willing to offer all my wealth to your disciple. I only beg you to spare my life." When Iron Prison heard Cheng Wu shout out to save him, his expression turned ugly. Although Iron Prison didn't know how to be flexible, he understood that this would make it seem like he was standing on the opposite side of the Moon Empress. However, Iron Prison did not throw Cheng Wu away. Instead, he continued with a cold expression. "The Moon Empress has already punished him. The reward and punishment must be clear." The Moon Empress sneered and stood in the air. The dense moonlight seemed to have turned into a solid substance as it swept at Iron Prison. This Empress is the Moon Empress, so the reward for Cheng Wu is also a punishment, and the punishment is also a reward. How can there be a clear reward and punishment? Since you want to take Cheng Wu away, let's see if you, Iron Prison, have the ability to do so. Wherever the Moon Empress moonlight swept, there would be moonlight ripples. It was extremely beautiful, but everyone who saw it had a stern expression. At this moment, Iron Prison suddenly mobilized his mental strength. As he mobilized his mental strength, a prehistoric dragon beast that was about 40 meters long appeared on the ground. The dragon beast spat out energy in preparation to defend against the incoming moonlight. When the Moon Empress saw that Iron Prison had summoned a fae, her eyes flashed with a cold light. At the same time, the bright moon in the sky suddenly shone brightly. The moonlight rippled like water, and within the rippling light, a barefooted young lady wearing a dress made of cold moonlight suddenly appeared. She was walking down from the moon step by step. The young lady's long hair was the extremely dense moonlight. Her beautiful face had a 70% resemblance to the Moon Empress. The instant the young lady walked down from the moon, there seemed to be a group of twinkling stars hidden in the moonlight. In an instant, the 40-meter-long prehistoric dragon beast let out a mournful cry and was thrown far away. At that moment, the bamboo monarch and the black-robed, masked woman each released a stream of energy. They helped the prehistoric dragon beast to block the moonlight's attack. The bamboo monarch looked at the Moon Empress and spoke with shock and surprise. Moon Empress, your cold moon lone disk has reached Myth 2. The scarlet-armored man beside the bamboo monarch looked at the young lady who walked out of the moonlight, and his eyes flickered. Myth 2, a fae turning into a human. This also meant that when a fae reached Myth 2, it would be able to turn into a human. The Moon Empress stood in the sky and sneered. Bamboo monarch, you old thing, your point ink imperial bamboo was already a myth breed a few decades ago. This empress doesn't believe that the point ink imperial bamboo hasn't reached Myth 2 in the past few decades. The Moon Empress looked at the bamboo monarch and the black-robed, masked woman. Since you want to make a move against me, this empress won't be polite. This empress hasn't appeared for 10 years, and even my old friends don't respect this empress. After speaking, the Moon Empress lifted her shoulder. The eyes of the little white rabbit that was nibbling on the carrot instantly turned purple, and the fur on its body was about to turn purple. At that moment, a voice suddenly echoed from the sky, and it sounded rather urgent. A man with a smiling face was anxiously shouting at the Moon Empress. Moon Empress, have you forgotten about the incident 10 years ago? You have been in seclusion for the past 10 years. Isn't it because you can't forget that incident 10 years ago? The voice was very urgent. When the Moon Empress heard this, her expression froze, and she remained silent for a moment. With a wave of her hand, the lone moon in the sky instantly vanished, and the noon sun became as dazzling as usual. The Moon Empress turned around and pulled Lin Yuan to soar into the sky. Without looking at the people behind her, her cold voice echoed faintly. Cheng Wu plotted to murder this Empress disciple, the Radiance Federation's Class 2 Creation Master, Lin Yuan. He deserves death for his crime. Since you are using the incident 10 years ago to poke at this Empress' sore spot, Cheng Wu shall be imprisoned in the sin-cleansing pond. After pausing for 3 seconds, the Moon Empress continued speaking. You won't come out unless you die. This is this Empress' greatest leniency. Baidu immediately read the latest chapter of the Beast Evolution Merchant Claw Book House for free. Chapter 114. After the Moon Empress brought Lin Yuan back to the Radiant Moon Palace, she carefully checked on his injuries and said with concern, "It's my fault. When you went out, I didn't even think of letting anyone follow you and gave you a fright. But it's also good. This matter will teach you something that I don't know how to teach you." The Moon Empress paused for a moment and looked into Lin Yuan's eyes seriously. In this world, all worldly possessions are not as good as one's strength. Lin Yuan nodded after hearing the Moon Empress' words. At that moment, Lin Yuan looked at the Moon Empress with a completely different gaze. Although Lin Yuan knew that he wanted to recognize the Moon Empress as his master, he was still in the process of adapting. After all, the establishment of an unfamiliar relationship could never be completed overnight. But now, when Cheng Wu tried to kill him, he had no room to retaliate. It was the Moon Empress Moonlight that saved him and protected him among the current world's absolute experts. If it wasn't for him, why would the Moon Empress make things difficult for Cheng Wu? Why would there be this gathering of the current world's experts? It was an indescribable feeling of being touched. A sour feeling of facing the world since he was 8 years old and seeing the truth of the world, but suddenly being protected in a crisis arose spontaneously. Lin Yuan had nowhere to vent this feeling and could only suppress it at the bottom of his heart. The unfamiliar word, master, was suddenly engraved in Lin Yuan's life in the past 18 years. When the Moon Empress saw Lin Yuan looking at her, she frowned and looked at him with concern. It's true that I will be frightened when I encounter this for the first time, but it won't happen again. I still have master. The corners of Lin Yuan's eyes were sour, but it was very dry and wouldn't flow out. His eyes were dry, but the warmth in his heart didn't lessen. Lin Yuan pursed his lips for a long time. He wanted to open his mouth but couldn't make a sound. After a while, he said, I'm not afraid anymore. I know that in this world, one's own strength will always be the foundation for one's survival. The Moon Empress saw that Lin Yuan had recovered so quickly and nodded with satisfaction. Lin Yuan was thinking about the unforeseen event that many experts vaguely mentioned 10 years ago. However, it was impossible to find such information on Star Web that involved top-notch experts. At that moment, Lin Yuan saw the Moon Empress handing over a box. There were 3 crests in the box, and they were the same crests that Lin Yuan had obtained after passing the Class 2 Creation Master exam. It was just that each badge had a crescent moon engraved with exceptionally exquisite runes on it. Lin Yuan received the box from the Moon Empress. Then, he looked at the Moon Empress and addressed her as Master. The Moon Empress' cold face revealed a smile. Then, he handed Lin Yuan a token that was warm to the touch and as white as jade. 2 crescent moons were engraved on the jade tablet. The upper and lower crescent moons were intertwined, giving off an ancient vibe. This is the Radiant Moon token. Previously, you rejected me every time I tried to give you something. Now that you've gone through the apprenticeship ceremony, I don't know what to give you. Take this Radiant Moon token. If you need any spiritual materials, you can take this Radiant Moon token and choose from the Radiant Moon Palace's spiritual material warehouse. Lin Yuan solemnly received the Radiant Moon token from the Moon Empress. After experiencing this unforeseen event, Lin Yuan's mentality was already different. Before he had been assassinated by Cheng Wu, he had been thinking of relying on his own efforts to walk down the path one step at a time. Lin Yuan might still be thinking like this, but his mind was more flexible. Previously, he had been obsessed with relying on his own strength to collect spiritual materials, and it was indeed right. Now that he had gone through the apprenticeship ceremony, the Moon Empress was his rightful master. Lin Yuan knew that his greatest difficulty now was the collection of spiritual materials, which was why his phase had yet to evolve to legend. As a result, Lin Yuan had 3 willpower runes, but he had nowhere to use them. It was especially so for the Jasmine Lily, which was already at Bronze X/Epic. It was just lacking a few spiritual materials to evolve to legend. After fusing with the willpower rune comprehended in the mountains and rivers, it would evolve into a fantasy breed. That way, Lin Yuan would be able to possess a fantasy breed Fey at Bronze. Previously, Ling Xiao mentioned that the earlier a Fey evolved into a fantasy breed, the greater its potential. Therefore, Lin Yuan was very ambitious and wanted to evolve Red Thorn from Bronze to Legend. Once Red Thorn reached Legend, it would fuse with the willpower rune comprehended in the murderous intent and become a fantasy breed. The 3rd willpower rune was the one that Lin Yuan had comprehended while observing the day and night. Although this willpower rune was somewhat compatible with Chimey, it was more or less lacking in meaning. Chimey's exclusive skill, Clear Sky, was the power of the sun. However, this willpower rune alternated day and night, so Lin Yuan decided to use it for another purpose. Lin Yuan could still contract a Fey or an origin life form that had an extremely low spiritual energy requirement. Until now, Lin Yuan had not been in a hurry to form a contract. If there was a suitable Fey that was suitable for comprehending the willpower rune during the alternation of day and night, Lin Yuan did not mind having one more Fey. After being attacked by Cheng Wu, Lin Yuan had long regarded increasing his strength as the most important thing. It was not difficult for Lin Yuan to increase his strength, and he just needed time. Therefore, Lin Yuan had already adjusted his previous plan in his heart. For the next year, Lin Yuan had already set his goal on increasing his strength. With the Radiant Moon Palace's spiritual ingredients, Lin Yuan believed that he would definitely have a metamorphosis during this year. When the Moon Empress saw that Lin Yuan did not reject and accepted the Radiant Moon token, she was very happy. Go and have a good rest for 2 days. Your physical injuries might have recovered, but if there is any mental discomfort, tell me. As a teacher, the Moon Empress knew that there were some things that she was unable to teach. For example, the first kill or escape after being killed for the first time. These mental changes required the spirit chi professional to overcome on their own, and the teacher could only guide them. After leaving the Moon Empress' inner palace, Lin Yuan returned to his pavilion. Lin Yuan sat on the chair, and his mind was still thinking about the gold ring spine goo that flew at his neck like lightning. However, Lin Yuan was not timid and only had courage. This experience would invisibly spur Lin Yuan on and let him know that he had to work hard to become stronger. Lin Yuan entered Morbius' spirit lock spatial zone and checked on Red Thorn, Genius, and Chimy's condition. After realizing that Red Thorn, Genius, and Chimy were in good condition, Lin Yuan was finally at ease. Red Thorn's vines that had been severed by the spine goo had also grown out. But at this moment, Lin Yuan suddenly realized that after this battle, Red Thorn's quality had evolved from flawless to epic. He had also reached elite level 9. Lin Yuan's heart was filled with joy. Red Thorn's quality increase might be related to the previous battle, but it was mostly because of the sumptuous meat in the diamond face storage box. Red Thorn relied on devouring to evolve. With a large amount of energy from the meat, Lin Yuan believed that Red Thorn would be able to evolve to bronze grade in 1 or 2 days. It would welcome Red Thorn's first exclusive skill. At that time, Red Thorn would also undergo its first true metamorphosis as a source-type life form. Baidu was the first to read the latest chapter of Beast Evolution Merchant Claw Book House for free. Chapter 115. This time, Lin Yuan didn't recall Genius and Chimy into the spiritual spatial zone. He didn't place Genius and Chimy in the pavilion either. Instead, he left it in the spirit lock spatial zone. Lin Yuan placed the platinum cane loofah and celery vine on the table in the spirit lock spatial zone. In the spirit lock spatial zone, the ordinary wooden table had been soaked in spirit chi that was 10 times higher than the outside world, and it had slowly turned into a jade-like texture and looked very exquisite. Lin Yuan couldn't help but think of putting more wood in the spirit lock spatial zone. After a long time, wood would turn into a jade-like texture. Although jade-like wood didn't have any use, it was very rare. Coupled with its exquisite appearance, it caused its price to be high. In particular, jade-like wood furniture was considered a kind of luxury item. When Genius and Chimy were hungry, it could casually eat the platinum cane loofah and celery vine on the table. After experiencing the battle and seeing Lin Yuan vomiting blood, Genius and Chimy obediently stuck to Lin Yuan's body. Every minute or two, Chimy would chirp and stand on Lin Yuan's ear, asking him to guarantee that it was fine before it could be at ease. Genius squatted on Lin Yuan's shoulder and said, "Lin Yuan, you scared me to death." Lin Yuan scared me to death. I'm useless. I don't have any combat ability. Lin Yuan quickly rubbed Genius' head until it let out a comfortable grunt. Lin Yuan then said, "Don't worry." Lin Yuan then said, "If it wasn't for your tool transformation glasses that allowed me to dodge that chi force at the crucial moment, I might not have been able to get up during the first wave of attacks." Genius is great. After hearing Lin Yuan's words, Genius meowed a few times and climbed onto the table, found a comfortable position, and fell into a deep sleep. When Chimy heard Lin Yuan praising Genius, it chirped and flew to Lin Yuan's ear. Lin Yuan snappily smiled and plucked a piece of celery vine's leaf to feed it. Chimy's sound thrust is great too. If it wasn't for it, Qingrui wouldn't have been injured. Upon hearing Lin Yuan's praise, Chimy happily ate the celery vine's leaf that was torn into small pieces. After eating and drinking its fill, it flew to Genius' head in satisfaction and nestled in its fur before falling asleep. The previous battle had consumed a lot of Genius and Chimy's mental energy, and the easiest way to recover from such mental energy consumption was to have a good sleep. As for the wind speed rapid antelope that had just been promoted to gold, it was already listed in the Star Web store. There were plenty of people who came to ask for the price, and there were also plenty of people who offered high prices. However, Lin Yuan did not make a move. He walked to the water tank next to the spirit pool and found that many of the 5 fortune ranches eggs had hatched. Small fishes that were less than half a centimeter long swam back and forth in the tank. When the spirit siphon goldfish had sufficient spirit chi, they didn't need to consume food. However, Lin Yuan still shifted the first batch of hatchlings into another water tank. The vision of the young fishes was very poor, and with the rapid growth of the dense spirit chi in the spirit lock spatial zone, it was very likely that the young fishes would eat the eggs that had yet to hatch. Many normal-grade spirit siphon goldfish in the spirit pool had already evolved into elite-grade spirit siphon goldfish. However, these spirit siphon goldfish only dared to swim around the edge of the spirit pool. Only his contracted spirit gather goldfish, Blackie, could enjoy the vast waters in the middle of the spirit pool. From time to time, he would lower his head to pick up a butterfly shell from the bottom of the pond and swallow it into his stomach. He was very relaxed. All of a sudden, Lin Yuan saw a very interesting scene. Blackie was swimming towards the side of the pool with a butterfly shell in its mouth. With a swing of its tail, it pushed away the elite-grade spirit siphon goldfish on both sides, leaving only the female 5 fortune ranches. Blackie spat out the butterfly shell from its mouth to the side of the female 5 fortune ranches. After watching the female 5 fortune ranches carefully eat the butterfly shell, Blackie then turned its head proudly and returned to the middle of the pool to swim. After the female 5 fortune ranches ate the butterfly shell, it carefully swam towards the middle of the pool. Blackie didn't bother about the female 5 fortune ranches, but when the other elite-grade spirit siphon goldfish swam over, it would mercilessly swing its tail at them. Lin Yuan couldn't help but be flabbergasted, and he couldn't help but recall the adulterous couple when he was picking up the bottle caps. Lin Yuan suddenly felt that his fae had fed him a mouthful of dog food, and he chanted in his heart. Lin Yuan thought in his heart, animals have feelings too, and animals have love too. At that moment, Lin Yuan suddenly heard an extremely subtle sound. Lin Yuan turned around and noticed that the blue flash butterfly's cocoon on the table had already cracked open slightly, and a newborn blue flash butterfly was trying its best to crawl out of the cocoon. The newborn blue flash butterfly's wings were still very weak, and they were wrinkled together and couldn't be extended at all. Lin Yuan walked over at that moment, but he didn't do anything. The butterfly spreading wings was the first hurdle in a butterfly's life, and it was also the most difficult hurdle. Many butterflies couldn't surpass this hurdle. However, when this hurdle was truly crossed, there would be no more obstacles for the rest of their life, and they would be able to soar gracefully under the blue sky. When this blue flash butterfly's wings were fully extended, Lin Yuan was stunned. This blue flash butterfly's wings weren't blue, but purple. Lin Yuan was flabbergasted. Without hesitation, he used Morbius' exclusive skill, Spirit Lock Spatial Zone, to bind this purple-winged blue flash butterfly as the spirit-locked fae in the Spirit Lock Spatial Zone. Even after forming the contract with this blue flash butterfly, Lin Yuan still hadn't come back to his senses. I can't be so lucky to form a contract with the blue flash purple butterfly, which is almost impossible to appear in the blue flash butterfly race, right? The blue flash purple butterfly was a type of blue flash butterfly, or it could be said that the blue flash butterfly was the most orthodox existence. When it was just born, it would undergo an atavism evolution in the butterfly cocoon, awakening the perfect template of the Lepidoptera, one of the 4 major insect eyes. The blue flash purple butterfly was truly too rare, so rare that it only existed in ancient documents before the spirit chi awakening. Most people treated the blue flash purple butterfly as a fae that didn't exist. In the fae beauty pageant, the blue flash purple butterfly was called a fantasy breed that wasn't a fantasy breed. The blue flash butterfly's evolved form, the blue flash goddess butterfly, had once reached the first place of the fae beauty pageant because of the blue flash purple butterfly's legend. However, the competition authorities weren't sure if the blue flash purple butterfly truly existed. Just based on ancient documents, it was impossible to prove the blue flash purple butterfly's existence. Therefore, the blue flash purple-winged goddess butterfly's ultimate beauty wasn't recorded in the blue flash goddess butterfly's ranking. Otherwise, the blue flash goddess butterfly wouldn't have fallen out of the top 3 because its abilities weren't strong outside of normal. When Lin Yuan looked at the blue flash purple butterfly and checked its true data, he couldn't help but slap his forehead. It was indeed worthy of being a fae that had undergone a perfect Lepidoptera template evolution in the butterfly cocoon. The normal blue flash purple butterfly's initial ability, Silence Scale Powder, was different from the blue flash butterfly's initial ability, Silence Scale Powder. The blue flash butterfly's scale powder could be dispersed by natural environments like strong wind. It would even be washed away by the rainwater and wouldn't be able to use its silence effect. However, the blue flash purple butterfly's silence scale powder had the strongest characteristic of Lepidoptera's scale powder, which was its adhesion. After coming into contact with the target, the fine scale powder would embed into the target's skin. Unless it was an incineration-type ability like blazing fire that could completely erase the scale powder with strong adhesion, it would be extremely difficult to disperse the scale powder with strong wind's effect. At the same time, when the rainwater soaked the scale powder with adhesion, the scale powder would stick to the skin even more effectively. The blue flash purple butterfly was truly powerful. Lin Yuan couldn't help but sigh. From now on, the blue flash purple butterfly wasn't just a legend anymore. Lin Yuan had one in his hands. He wanted to read the latest chapter of Beast Evolution Merchant Claw Book House for free. Chapter 116. As the blue flash purple butterfly was a perfect variant of the blue flash butterfly, its abilities naturally couldn't escape the curse of the blue flash butterfly. It was still only powerful at normal, and the abilities after normal were still very useless. However, this didn't affect Lin Yuan at all. What Lin Yuan needed was the blue flash purple butterfly's normal initial ability. The blue flash purple butterfly's normal ability, Silence Scale Powder, had excellent adhesion, and such an ability was a divine ability among control abilities. If used properly, it could completely affect the battle situation and catch the opponent off guard. After contracting the blue flash purple butterfly, Lin Yuan started to pour spirit chi into the normal blue flash purple butterfly, which was only half the size of a palm. In less than an hour, the blue flash purple butterfly's body suddenly shook rapidly, sprinkling layers of glittering scale powder. Lin Yuan had already evolved the blue flash purple butterfly from a normal I/normal Fae to Elite X/Epic. Now, Lin Yuan was evolving the blue flash purple butterfly toward bronze grade. The blue flash purple butterfly's shaking body suddenly emitted a pale purple halo. This purple color was very light, but it had an indescribable beauty. If it was turned into a word, it could only be described as indifferent purple. The flickering layers of scale powder on the blue flash purple butterfly's body instantly gushed out and formed a light illusion that was around half a meter in size. Lin Yuan's spirit chi had already broken through the blue flash purple butterfly's barrier. The blue flash purple butterfly had officially broken through to bronze grade. After the blue flash purple butterfly evolved into a bronze grade Fae, it flapped its wings and produced a bluish-purple shadow. It fanned out the scale powder that enveloped its body, and it was like a dream that had suddenly withered and shattered. A blue flash purple butterfly that was more than twice the size of the previous one flew out of the halo. It was even larger than a fist. It landed on Lin Yuan's shoulder. The butterfly on his shoulder was glowing purple, and it looked as though it had ascended to immortality. Lin Yuan was a straight man, and when he saw the bronze blue flash purple butterfly, he suddenly understood why beautiful fays were so expensive and why people would scramble for them. Just a glance at it was a beautiful experience. The blue flash purple butterfly flapped its wings and danced around Lin Yuan intimately. Since the blue flash purple butterfly had reached epic when it was at elite, it naturally had 3 exclusive skills when it evolved to bronze. Lin Yuan looked at the exclusive skill. Hard scale powder. The scale powder is like fine metal powder. Rubbing against the scale powder may cause cuts on the surface of the scale powder. In Lin Yuan's opinion, this exclusive skill was of little value. The blue flash purple butterfly's silence scale powder needed to be very light so that it could spread quickly. However, Not only would the hard scale powder not strengthen the control effect of the silent scale powder, but it would also affect the release and adhesion of the silent scale powder. The appearance of such an exclusive skill was the most lamentable. If the blue flash purple butterfly hadn't evolved from epic at elite, a rare fae like the blue flash purple butterfly would have been ruined by this exclusive skill. This was also why so many spirit chi professionals wished for their faes to reach epic quality before evolving from elite to bronze. After skipping the first exclusive skill, he continued to look at the second one. Flashing wings increases the user's flying speed. Combined with the scale powder on the wings, the user's flying speed is extremely fast. This exclusive skill increased the blue flash purple butterfly's survivability. Logically speaking, it was a rather good ability for support-type faes with control-type abilities, especially faes like the blue flash purple butterfly that had almost no defense. It could greatly increase the tolerance for mistakes in combat. However, it was useless for Lin Yuan. The blue flash purple butterfly was Morbius spirit-locked fae, and the Morbius bracelet was on Lin Yuan's hand. Therefore, when releasing the blue flash purple butterfly's ability, Lin Yuan could just raise his hand and release it. Summoning the blue flash purple butterfly to release the silent scale powder would increase the effect of the silent scale powder. However, the flashing wings was not very useful for the blue flash purple butterfly, which didn't need to appear every time it released its ability. Lin Yuan wanted to take a look at the third exclusive skill. If it was still not compatible, he could only choose the versatile flashing wings as the blue flash purple butterfly's exclusive skill. However, when Lin Yuan saw the third exclusive skill, he couldn't help but immediately put on a smile. Scale Powder Halo. Its scale powder has a powerful reflective effect. The multifaceted reflection of the scale powder will cause the target enveloped by the scale powder to suffer from optical pollution, causing dizziness or even temporary blindness. This ability might be a very useless exclusive skill for other Lepidoptera insects or even other butterfly faes. However, for Lin Yuan, who could only use the blue flash purple butterfly's basic abilities, the scale powder halo was a divine skill. This was because the scale powder halo directly enhanced the control effect of the basic ability, silent scale powder. When the silent scale powder was scattered, the halo would produce a powerful illusory light through optical pollution, causing dizziness or temporary blindness to the target. This exclusive skill allowed the silent scale powder to achieve a kind of dual control. At the same time, the scale powder halo's characteristic was the guarantee of the silent scale powder's effect. The scale powder halo would have the upper hand when controlling the target. When the target recovered, they would have already missed the best time to avoid the silent scale powder. By then, the time needed to remove the silent scale powder would become the time for Lin Yuan's other faes to attack to their heart's content. Faes had different exclusive skills, and each fae had hundreds or even thousands of exclusive skills. It wasn't easy to select a suitable exclusive skill from them. In fact, some faes would specifically grind out the bronze exclusive skill before contracting a fae. However, it was easier said than done to grind out a specific exclusive skill among the hundreds or thousands of exclusive skills. Lin Yuan couldn't help but think of the braised egg head. She had already agreed to kill almost the 15th wave of web-spraying spiders. However, even after killing dozens of web-spraying spiders, the braised egghead still hadn't obtained the exclusive skill, transparent spider silk, that she wanted. Lin Yuan felt that he had experienced two miracles from the moment he broke out of the cocoon. One was that the blue flash purple butterfly's cocoon had actually produced a blue flash purple butterfly that was only 1 in 10 million. The other miracle was that when Lin Yuan enhanced the blue flash purple butterfly, he actually obtained such a compatible exclusive skill. The blue flash purple butterfly had just reached bronze grade, and the silent scale powder's effect wasn't considered strong yet. However, if the blue flash purple butterfly matured, it would definitely be a very powerful control ability on the battlefield with the scale powder halo's silent scale powder. Read the latest chapter of Beast Evolution Merchant Claw Book House for free. Chapter 117. Lin Yuan had sent a message to Lu Jie when he had returned to the Radiant Moon Palace. After experiencing a life-and-death calamity, Lin Yuan was not in the mood to look at houses anymore. It just so happened that he could enhance the blue-purple butterfly from bronze I/normal to bronze X/epic. As for evolving the blue-purple butterfly to silver, he did not have such a consideration now. This was because the blue-purple butterfly's future potential was related to when it advanced into a fantasy breed. Lin Yuan might not be an absolute perfectionist, but this concerned his future, so he suppressed all his phase to bronze X. Another reason was that Morbius grade and quality were related to the spirit-locked Fae. A spirit-locked Fae couldn't be changed, so every spirit-locked Fae was of utmost importance. Otherwise, it would simply be a disaster for him if any of his Faes were stuck at a grade. This was because Morbius grade would also be stuck at the lowest spirit-locked Fae grade. When the Fae evolved into a fantasy breed at bronze, he would be able to increase the Fae's grade at will and wouldn't have to be stuck at bronze. He was originally thinking about how to obtain 2 mahogany tree cores after the jasmine lily evolved from epic to legend. Now, he only needed to use the Radiant Moon token to find the spiritual ingredients he needed in the Radiance Palace's treasury. Therefore, he decided to upgrade the Jasmine Lily's quality to legend and then fuse it with the willpower rune he had comprehended in the mountains, rivers, and vegetation. This way, the Jasmine Lily would become his first fantasy breed Fae. Lin Yuan did not know how powerful a bronze/fantasy breed was. However, thinking about it, if it was at the same stage, it would definitely be stronger than a bronze/fantasy breed Fae. When a Fae became a fantasy breed, it would transcend the inherent genetic model and evolve into a fantasy Fae. Finally, it broke through fantasy V and ascended to myth, evolving into a myth breed Fae. Previously, Lin Yuan's vision was very shallow and only knew about fantasy breeds, but he didn't know that there were myth breeds above fantasy breeds. Now, not only did he know about it, he even saw it. Lin Yuan had also determined the path that the Jasmine Lily and his other Faes would take after becoming fantasy breeds. Morbius had yet to wake up from its slumber. In the end, it hadn't been long since Morbius had fallen asleep. However, Morbius had yet to wake up, and Lin Yuan was rather worried. At this time, Morbius' attributes had already changed. Lin Yuan's vacant bronze spirit lock position had also been filled. Fae name, Morbius, spirit species, : Fae grade, bronze, 10/10, Fae type, spatial/mystery, comprehension grade, epic skills frowny face true data, convert all complex information that cannot be discerned by the naked eye into data. Information that is digitized may contain the truth that cannot be discerned on the surface. Calm mind, passive ability. The effect of calm mind can be strengthened according to the Fae's grade. Calm mind can stabilize the mind and has a certain probability of resisting negative states. Exclusive skill frowny face spirit lock, Morbius spatial zone can nurture Faes. The initial grade of the Fae that Morbius spatial zone can nurture cannot be higher than Morbius grade. Morbius is unable to level up, but its grade will increase along with the Fae it nurtures. At the same time, Morbius can obtain the initial abilities of the Fae it nurtures. However, Morbius will not obtain abilities when it levels up. Every time Morbius increases a grade, it will be able to nurture one more Fae. At the same time, Morbius' upgrade method will remain unchanged. Pure Land of Bliss, the Spirit Lock spatial zone produces soil that can be used to heal near-death phase injuries. The phase recovery time will be determined by Morbius grade and the dying phase grade. Normal Spirit Lock, Jasmine Lily, bronze, 10 out of 10, epic ability, heal, rapidly heals external injuries and slowly recovers vitality. Exclusive skill, recovery imprint, stores the healing energy that the Jasmine Lily normally releases. The contractor can activate the imprint to release the stored healing energy. Elite Spirit Lock, Spirit Gather Goldfish, bronze, 10 out of 10, epic ability, spirit injection, a one-time recovery of a certain amount of spiritual power. Afterward, it will slowly recover the lost spiritual power. Exclusive skill, Spirit Chi Imprint. The Spirit Chi that is released will not be released into the environment but will be stored in the Spirit Chi Imprint. The Spirit Chi Imprint will be branded on the contractor's body, and the contractor can take the initiative to release the stored spiritual power in the Spirit Chi Imprint. Bronze Spirit Lock, Blue Flash Purple Butterfly, Bronze, 10 out of 10, Epic Ability, Silence Scale Powder, releases a special scale powder with a silence effect, causing the target that comes into contact with the scale powder to be unable to communicate with spiritual power and release abilities. Exclusive skill, Scale Powder Halo. The scale powder has a powerful reflective effect. The multifaceted reflection of the scale powder will cause the target that is enveloped by the scale powder to suffer from optical pollution, causing dizziness and even temporary blindness. Lin Yuan looked at Morbius data under True Data. He felt that it was really hard to find a healing type or support type Fae that was stronger than Morbius in this world. Each of Morbius' abilities corresponded to a Fae. Each Fae's ability corresponded to the Fae's corresponding exclusive skill. This allowed him to enhance Morbius' ability in the direction he wanted. After devouring a large amount of dimensional lifeform's flesh, Red Thorn had evolved to Elite X/Epic. However, he was unable to help Red Thorn with the barrier between Elite X and Bronze. Red Thorn needed to devour a large amount of flesh to break through this barrier. It wasn't easy for a Fae to break through such a barrier, so the Red Thorn still needed some time to evolve to Bronze grade. The most important thing now was to evolve the Jasmine Lily into a fantasy breed. Therefore, Lin Yuan headed to the Radiant Moon Palace to prepare to obtain the spiritual ingredients needed to evolve the Jasmine Lily into a legend breed. He walked out of the pavilion and headed toward the Radiant Moon Palace. From time to time, he would see some rare Faes blooming in the flower bed beside the Radiant Moon Palace or playing on the lawn. Before Lin Yuan could reach the Radiant Moon Palace, he saw Cold Moon walking toward him. Sang Yu glanced at Lin Yuan, bowed slightly, and spoke in a cold voice. "Young lord, the Moon Empress is asking for you to make a trip to the inner palace." Lin Yuan was startled when he saw Sang Yu bowing to him. He quickly replied, "Senior, I am not worthy of your greeting." Lin Yuan was rather respectful toward experts. Not only did Sang Yu bow to him, but she also addressed him as young lord. This made Lin Yuan feel rather uncomfortable. Sang Yu looked at Lin Yuan, and her usual cold expression was tinged with warmth. The Moon Empress is the owner of the Leaning Moon Mountain's Radiant Moon Palace. Black Moon and I are the Moon Empress envoys and also her retainers. Young lord, you are the Moon Empress disciple and her relative. You are naturally worthy of my greeting. In the end, you are also the young owner of the Leaning Moon Mountain's Radiant Moon Palace. After speaking, Sang Yu paused for a moment before continuing. Young lord isn't just worthy of my and Black Moon's greeting. There aren't many people in the Radiance Federation who can't receive greeting from you. Speaking of this, Sang Yu recalled that Cheng Wu had tried to kill Lin Yuan, and she frowned. This time, the Moon Empress probably asked your young highness to go because she wants to prepare an expert that can protect you. There are people with ill intentions everywhere. Before your young highness grows up, you must have a protector for your young highness. Lin Yuan's brows twitched. His master, the Moon Empress, actually wanted to arrange a protector for him? Baidu immediately read the latest chapter of Beast Evolution Merchant Claw Book House for free. Chapter 118. Dao Protector was a very sacred term in the hearts of the Radiance Federation's people. Dao Protector referred to the safety and growth of the younger generation. It was to protect a very young and talented Dao. All the dangers that the younger generation encountered on their path of growth would be protected by their own Dao Protector. The Dao Protector would be a bystander and watch the Dao that he protected from the perspective of a bystander, which was the growth of the younger generation. The prerequisite for everyone to be qualified to be a Dao Protector was to have a willpower rune. The Dao Protector had to swear an oath to the willpower rune and use all his strength and even his life to protect the Dao's growth. until the Tao that he protected reached a satisfactory level. The Tao protector would activate his oath again and deepen the oath to become the Tao that he protected, which was the responsibility of the younger generation's housekeeper. He would no longer protect the Tao's growth from the perspective of a bystander. If the Tao protector was not satisfied with the Tao that he protected, when the younger generation that he protected grew up, the Tao protector would remove the willpower rune oath with the younger generation that he protected. From then on, the Tao protector would leave the younger generation that he protected and no longer protect them. Generally, the younger generation that could have Tao protectors were all prestigious families and influential clans. After all, there were no practical benefits for an expert to become a Tao protector. If there was any favorable treatment, it was just gambling on the Tao that he protected, which was the future of the younger generation. In fact, if the Tao that he protected died, as the Tao protector, he would even be counterattacked by the willpower rune. The Tao protector would do his best to protect the Tao that he protected. At the very least, he would protect until the younger generation grew up. Therefore, the Tao protector's protection was somewhat like the etiquette of the knights before the spirit chi awakening. Of course, the Tao protector's protection didn't mean that it was indiscriminate. Before the Tao that he protected grew up, the Tao protector would only take action when he encountered a situation of certain death. It was considered a kind of life insurance. During normal times, even if the Tao that he protected was insulted and tortured endlessly, as long as it was not a situation of certain death, the Tao protector would only watch from the sidelines. The resistance that the younger generation encountered might seem difficult, but it was often the most important thing that allowed the younger generation to transform, be it in terms of mentality or strength. This was because the growth of the younger generation, especially the growth of geniuses, was treading on thorns every step. Only by stepping over the thorns one step at a time would one be able to ascend to the true heights. One would be able to stand at the very top and look down on all the other mountains. Lin Yuan was rather clear about the common sense of having a path protector, but he had never thought that he would have one. Even though Lin Yuan had acknowledged the Moon Empress as his master, he had never thought that there would be a day when an expert would never leave his side and protect him. Lin Yuan did not feel bad about it. Perhaps he might not be used to it at first, but he did not have to worry about encountering assassinations. Along the way, Tsang Yu narrated Cheng Wu's execution to Lin Yuan with a cold expression. Whenever she mentioned Cheng Wu, a cold glint would flash in her eyes from time to time. The 5 sin-cleansing weeping willows in the sin-cleansing pond were taken away because the spirit guards wanted to suppress the phase. Today, Mystic Moon has replanted the 5 sin-cleansing weeping willows. The sin-cleansing spring's mouth of the sin-cleansing pond is a little clogged, and Mystic Moon has ordered people to renovate and open up a new path. Cheng Wu has received the Moon Empress Moonlight sublimation, so he should be able to repent in the sin-cleansing pond for the few days he has left. Lin Yuan did not know much about the sin-cleansing weeping willows and the sin-cleansing spring's mouth of the sin-cleansing pond that Tsang Yu had mentioned. However, in the Radiance Federation, everyone from 80 years old to 10 years old children would have heard of the sin-cleansing pond. This place, which made people shudder with fear, had countless legends. Only the most evil people would be imprisoned in the sin-cleansing pond to cleanse their sins. Cheng Wu would not have an easy time in the sin-cleansing pond. Lin Yuan did not express any opinion about Cheng Wu's execution, as he did not want to put the Moon Empress in a difficult position. Lin Yuan would never be lenient to people who wanted to kill him. However, Lin Yuan also understood that everything he did now was relying on his master's power and not his own strength. However, this was only temporary. Lin Yuan believed that he would have a place in this world sooner or later. When he reached the Radiant Moon Palace's inner palace, Lin Yuan saw the Moon Empress combing the fur of a beautiful, snow-white fae with 7 tails. This fae was a white fox with 7 tails. The white fox's eyes were a deep green, and its beautiful appearance was filled with elegance. However, just from its eyes, one could feel the unparalleled cruelty of this 7-tailed white fox. At that moment, the ordinary white rabbit, which was eating a carrot, suddenly jumped onto the Moon Empress' shoulder and ate the carrot that it was constantly eating. When the little rabbit jumped onto the Moon Empress' shoulder, the seven-tailed white fox suddenly lowered its head. In Lin Yuan's opinion, the seven-tailed white fox seemed to be afraid of the little rabbit. It slowly prostrated and curled its tail slightly. This was the action of a fox species fey to express its submission. Fox species fays were famous for being arrogant and would rarely submit even in death. However, it was actually in a state of submission now. Fox species fays had always been outstanding among beast species fays, and there were very few beast species fays that could be comparable with fox species fays. Furthermore, fox species fays were very rare, so it was very rare to see them. Moreover, it was a white fox with 7 tails. Lin Yuan remembered that there were records of it in some supernatural books in his previous life. A fox with 7 tails would bring disaster after disaster. When a fox has 9 tails, the world will be in chaos. Before Lin Yuan could take a closer look at the 7-tailed white fox, the Moon Empress had already finished combing its tail. The Moon Empress raised her hand, and the 7 tails were stored into her spiritual spatial zone. Sang Yu hurriedly stepped forward and said, "Moon Empress, your calamity sun-swallowing fox has evolved from 6 tails to 7 tails. It seems like your calamity sun-swallowing fox's quality has evolved to myth I." The Moon Empress nodded. Upon seeing Lin Yuan, she smiled and waved her hand. "From the looks of it, you should have recovered from the state of being assassinated." The Moon Empress carefully observed Lin Yuan's expression and was relieved. Previously, she had been thinking about how to enlighten Lin Yuan. Lin Yuan chuckled, revealing a mouthful of white teeth, looking very radiant. "I've made you worry, master." In fact, Lin Yuan was not frightened by the previous assassination. His expression had not been good before because he had truly recognized how weak he was after the assassination attempt. As a person who had lived 2 lifetimes and had already died once, Lin Yuan's heart's determination was not something that ordinary people could imagine. When Lin Yuan addressed her as master, the Moon Empress immediately beamed with joy, and the smile on her face stunned Cold Moon. Cold Moon could not remember how many years it had been since the Moon Empress had laughed so carefreely. Baidu, read the latest chapter of Beast Evolution Merchant Claw Book House for free. Chapter 119. Cold Moon's usually frosty face revealed a rare smile. It wasn't just because she was happy for the Moon Empress, but because she was infected by the atmosphere. After chatting for a while, the Moon Empress' expression suddenly became very serious and solemn. "After thinking about it, I feel that it is better to find a path protector for you as soon as possible. The more dangerous it is, the better it can protect you." Lin Yuan didn't refuse. He nodded and said, "That's enough." He nodded and said, "Master, please arrange it." When the Moon Empress heard that Lin Yuan didn't refuse, the smile on her face didn't disappear. The disciple that she had just accepted was more strong-willed and wasn't used to relying on a master. This made the Moon Empress feel that it was indescribably tough. Now that Lin Yuan agreed so readily, it made the Moon Empress crack a rare joke. "Your path protector is in the inner palace, right under your eyes. Let's see if you can discover it." Lin Yuan looked around the inner palace before his eyes landed on Cold Moon. Lin Yuan couldn't help but wonder if the path protector that his master found for him was Cold Moon. Cold Moon looked at Lin Yuan with a smile. She didn't say anything or nod. At that moment, Lin Yuan suddenly felt a weight on his shoulder, and there was a strange voice coming from it. The voice sounded a little cold, making one's hair stand on end. However, this creepy female voice was surprisingly pleasant to listen to. "Kid, where are you looking at? Your path protector is over here." When Lin Yuan felt his shoulders sink without him noticing it, he knew that something had landed on his shoulder. When he turned around, he realized that it was a red spider that looked like it was carved out of crystal. The spider's legs had bright red crystal thread-like stingers. The red was very dazzling, as though it was stained with blood. It was as though the outer shell was carved out of red crystal. It was filled with dark red blood and had a cruel sense of beauty. This spider creature was simply like God's perfect creation. However, the 8 slender spider legs and the spiky armor on its back revealed its valiance. Lin Yuan seemed to smell a faint blood aura from the spider's body. There seemed to be a layer of viscous blood-colored energy emitting from the spider's body. Lin Yuan observed the red crystal-like spider, and the red crystal-like spider was also carefully observing Lin Yuan. Lin Yuan looked for a long time before turning to look at the Moon Empress, who nodded. This is your path protector, the mother of bloodbath, a suzerain/myth fey. Upon hearing the Moon Empress words, Lin Yuan couldn't help but exclaim. The path protector that his master, the Moon Empress, had found for him was actually a fey, and it was even a myth fey. However, what was a suzerain? A suzerain fey? Before the Moon Empress could speak, the mother of bloodbath spoke first. Above the diamond rank is the suzerain rank. The suzerain rank, before the mother of bloodbath could finish speaking, it suddenly shut its mouth. The mother of bloodbath suddenly saw the Moon Empress looking at it coldly. The Moon Empress looked at the mother of bloodbath and was furious. It wasn't easy for his disciple to ask a question, and he, as his master, hadn't even had the time to teach him, so what was he going to answer? The Moon Empress ignored the mother of bloodbath's words and explained again. Diamond isn't the limit. Above the diamond rank is the suzerain rank. A suzerain fey will produce a domain according to its exclusive skill. The moonlight that you saw today is the power of the cold moon Lone Will domain. Lin Yuan carefully remembered the Moon Empress words and heard her say, diamond isn't the limit. At the same time, there are also feys. The easiest way for a fey to evolve into a fantasy breed is to sign a contract with a human. When the fey's quality reaches legend, it will fuse with the contractor's willpower rune. However, this isn't the only way for a fey to become a fantasy breed. The Moon Empress paused for a moment and saw that Lin Yuan was listening to her carefully. She nodded with satisfaction and continued speaking. A fey that doesn't have a contractor's contract will generally evolve into a fantasy breed at Diamond. However, if it can evolve to legend at Diamond, it will have a chance to comprehend a willpower rune from heaven and earth. It will fuse with the willpower rune and evolve into a fantasy breed. Lin Yuan was flabbergasted. This was the first time he heard that a fey could evolve into a fantasy breed on its own without going through a contractor. However, according to the Moon Empress, a fey that relied on itself to evolve into a fantasy breed would at least be at Diamond. This made Lin Yuan involuntarily think of the 2 silver stamen gold luster caches planted at the entrance of the Radiant Moon Palace. Those 2 silver stamen gold luster caches had reached Diamond X/legend. Presumably, they were also waiting to comprehend a willpower rune and evolve into a fantasy breed. Before Lin Yuan could think further, the Moon Empress continued speaking. A wild fey that evolves into a fantasy breed might only evolve into a fantasy breed at Diamond, but it will still be stuck at Diamond. It will only have a chance to evolve from Diamond to Suzerain when its quality reaches Fantasy V. Lin Yuan couldn't help but sigh. In the long river of life, the evolution of lifeforms had never stopped. This was the first time he heard of the concept of Suzerain, so he couldn't help but ask. Is Suzerain much stronger than Diamond? At that moment, the mother of bloodbath on Lin Yuan's shoulder couldn't help but ask. Diamond and Suzerain are 2 different levels and can't be compared at all. When a fey reaches Fantasy V and evolves into Suzerain, it will experience a world cleansing. After completing the world cleansing, it will evolve into a Suzerain. Only when it reaches Suzerain can it evolve into a myth breed. I was saved by the Moon Empress during the world cleansing, which is why I'm willing to be your path protector. When Lin Yuan heard the mother of bloodbath mention the world cleansing, he knew that the world cleansing was both an opportunity and a calamity for feys. The magnificence of the epic of life was the transformation and rebirth after the calamity. If it couldn't survive this calamity, it would become a bubble in the long river of life's evolution. The Moon Empress looked at Lin Yuan and said seriously, "This is considered the Radiance Federation's secret. This is considered the Radiance Federation's secret, and only King-class experts are qualified to know about it. Most people have been focusing on the phase quality and neglected the phase grade. However, grade is the most fundamental existence. In order to evolve the Fae to Suzerain, it would need to evolve the Fae to Fantasy V at Diamond. In the eyes of a Suzerain, any Fae that hasn't reached Suzerain is just a slightly stronger ant." Lin Yuan didn't have any concept of myth breeds and only knew that they were above fantasy breeds. Now, Lin Yuan knew that the prerequisite to become a myth breed was to reach Fantasy V and become Suzerain. Lin Yuan had always had a question, and that was why the highest grade of fantasy breed phase he encountered were always Diamond. Now, Lin Yuan finally understood. Fantasy V was Suzerain, and only by becoming Suzerain could one touch myth and evolve into a myth breed. Baidu read the latest chapter of Beast Evolution Merchant Claw Book House for free. Chapter 120. Blood-colored energy filled the entire rear hall, completely overshadowing the radiance of the several dozen diamond-grade lotuses in the lotus pond. The platinum spirit siphon goldfish were also hiding under the lotus leaves, not daring to show their heads. This blood-colored energy made him feel as though he was in a bottomless pool of blood that he could not get out of. The viscous blood seemed to be able to devour everything. The strange female voice had a special tone, cruel and solemn. A blood-colored rune shot out from the Mother of Bloodbath's back, emitting a scarlet blood-colored light. "I, the Mother of Bloodbath, swear on the law rune to form a Path Protector contract and become Lin Yuan's Path Protector." As his voice fell, he could feel a trace of energy separate from this blood-colored rune and land on his body, making him faintly feel that he had a connection with this blood-colored rune. After concluding the Path Protector contract, the Mother of Bloodbath officially became Lin Yuan's Path Protector. From now on, Lin Yuan also had his own Tao Protector. The Mother of Bloodbath seemed to have consumed a lot of energy after forming the Path Protector contract with Lin Yuan. "Kid, you're really lucky to have a Tao Protector contract. With the influence of my law rune energy, it'll be much easier for you to comprehend willpower runes." As the Mother of Bloodbath spoke, it moved its hairy spider legs. His scarlet eyes were filled with the feeling that Lin Yuan had taken advantage of him. After speaking, the Mother of Bloodbath turned around and looked at the Moon Empress seriously. "I am indebted to the Moon Empress for giving me a new lease of life in the past. This time, I will treat it as returning the favor." The Moon Empress looked at the Mother of Bloodbath and said coldly, "Protect this palace's disciple and become this palace's disciple's Tao Protector. This palace should accept your kindness." The Mother of Bloodbath did not speak again. Instead, with a flash of scarlet energy, it turned into an extremely exquisite red crystal spider that was 1 centimeter in size. With a light leap, it jumped onto Lin Yuan's hair. It disappeared into Lin Yuan's hair. As a Path Protector, the Mother of Bloodbath had no feelings for Lin Yuan. It was only because he owed the Moon Empress that he was willing to be Lin Yuan's Path Protector. Therefore, the Mother of Bloodbath would not give Lin Yuan any preferential treatment. It would only do what a Path Protector should do and not let Lin Yuan die. The blood-colored energy slowly fused into Lin Yuan's spiritual energy, making him feel lighter as though the whole world had become clearer. All of a sudden, Lin Yuan felt as though he had comprehended something. It was as though he could grasp something just by stretching out his hand, but there was a faint layer of window paper. But what was the law rune that the Mother of Bloodbath had mentioned? Lin Yuan opened his eyes and saw the Moon Empress looking at him with a smile. Before Lin Yuan could ask, the Moon Empress had already answered. "When the Mother of Bloodbath became your Path Protector, you comprehended a trace of the law rune that the Mother of Bloodbath comprehended. This will be very beneficial to your comprehension of willpower runes in the future. For the younger generation, comprehending the willpower runes between heaven and earth is the most difficult. The Radiance 100 sequence's first seat already has 3 willpower runes. The Moon Empress had said this to give Lin Yuan motivation and pressure. It told Lin Yuan his advantages and also let him know the state of the strongest expert of the younger generation. Lin Yuan suddenly clenched his fist. Weren't there 3 willpower runes in his spiritual spatial zone? It was just that he had never told anyone about it. Although his strength was still lacking, in terms of comprehending willpower runes, he was already on par with the Radiance Federation's #1 person among the younger generation. How could Lin Yuan know that he had unknowingly obtained an advantage that others could only dream of? That was the enlightenment of a trace of law rune energy, which would undoubtedly greatly enhance one's ability to comprehend willpower runes. However, he still did not know what law runes were. The Moon Empress looked at Lin Yuan's probing gaze and explained. After advancing to suzerain after Fantasy V, I'll need to transform my willpower rune into a rule rune if I want to become a myth breed and become a myth breed. The Moon Empress said unhurriedly, willpower runes are just comprehending the laws of heaven and earth, while law runes are comprehending the laws of heaven and earth and transforming them for one's own use. That's why the gap between myth and fantasy breeds is so huge. After Lin Yuan and the Moon Empress asked about some knowledge, they carried out a question-and-answer exercise between master and disciple. When Lin Yuan asked the Moon Empress, she would use her own experience to answer. When the Moon Empress asked Lin Yuan, she was also helping him to consolidate his knowledge. The questions and answers were the joy of a master and disciple. After Lin Yuan left, Cold Moon walked to the jade table and picked up a small, exquisite teapot made of sweet white glaze. She poured a cup of amber-colored tea and handed it to the Moon Empress. He handed it to the Moon Empress and said, "My lady, you haven't been so happy in a long time." The Moon Empress picked up the teacup, and when the amber-colored tea entered her mouth, it brought along a refreshing aftertaste. It feels great to have a disciple. I suddenly feel proud to see a little fellow grow step by step. It's as though I'm looking at myself when I was young. When the Moon Empress spoke, the corners of her mouth were slightly curled up. Perhaps this was a master's duty, and a disciple's duty was to pass on the torch. After leaving the Radiant Moon Palace's inner palace, Lin Yuan headed to the Radiant Moon Palace's spiritual ingredient treasury. He already had the revival soil, but he still needed 1 liter of grasswood fountain water and 2 mahogany tree cores. Grasswood fountain water and mahogany tree cores might be rare outside, but in the Radiant Moon Palace's treasury, Lin Yuan was really worried that they might not be available. After all, these 2 spiritual ingredients were of a rather low grade in the Radiant Moon Palace's treasury. In Lin Yuan's soft hair, a 1 centimeter long spider that looked like it was carved out of rubies lay quietly. It was the Mother of Bloodbath. The Mother of Bloodbath was currently in a strange state. In Lin Yuan's hair, the Mother of Bloodbath kept feeling that Lin Yuan's body was emitting very pure spirit qi. Faze loved pure spirit qi. When the Mother of Bloodbath smelled the spirit qi emitted from Lin Yuan's body, it suddenly felt that perhaps becoming a path protector wasn't as bad as it imagined. The Fae's thoughts were very simple. The Mother of Bloodbath felt close to Lin Yuan's plant spirit qi. The Mother of Bloodbath's impression of Lin Yuan was naturally much better. Lin Yuan knew that the Mother of Bloodbath was lying in his hair, so he couldn't help but speak. "Senior, I'll have to trouble you in the future." The Mother of Bloodbath snorted lightly, lifted its leg, and jumped onto the tip of Lin Yuan's nose. "There's no need to call me Senior. Just call me by my name, Mother of Bloodbath. Don't call me that normally. I won't make a move unless you're dead." After speaking, the Mother of Bloodbath jumped off Lin Yuan's nose again and landed on the leaf-shaped diamond face storage box hanging in front of Lin Yuan's chest. It looked like a red crystal spider on a leaf. It was very exquisite. Even if one looked carefully, one wouldn't be able to tell that the spider on the leaf was a living creature. Baidu, read the latest chapter of Beast Evolution Merchant Claw Book House for free. Chapter 121. When he arrived at the Radiant Moon Palace's spiritual ingredient treasury, he noticed 3 spirit attendants in light yellow robes standing at the entrance. He had seen 2 of them before. They were the young girls who had come to clean the pavilion previously. After listening to the gossip brought by the wind, Lin Yuan still vaguely remembered their names. The well-dressed one was called Jin Qi, and the undressed one was called Wen Yu. Lin Yuan had never seen the other young lady before. When the trio saw Lin Yuan, Jin Qi's eyes lit up, and she hurriedly ran over and bowed. "Lord Lin Yuan, long time no see." Lin Yuan nodded and took out a token engraved with 2 crescent moons. "I came to take some spirit materials from the treasury." Jin Qi hurriedly said. "What spirit materials do you need, Lord Lin Yuan?" "I'll go prepare them right away." Lin Yuan reached out and scratched his head. 1 liter of grasswood spring water and 2 mahogany tree cores. Jin Qi had intentionally blocked Wen Yu and the other spirit attendant when she stepped forward. He did not give Wen Yu and the other spirit attendant a chance to speak at all. He thought that no matter what Lin Yuan needed or what spiritual ingredients he wanted, he would make Lin Yuan in the most satisfactory state. However, when she heard that 1 liter of grasswood spring water and 2 mahogany tree cores, Jin Qi was a little confused. During these 2 seconds, another young girl that Lin Yuan didn't know walked forward and looked at Lin Yuan respectfully before speaking. "Lord Lin Yuan, we do have the mahogany tree cores in the treasury, but we don't have 1 liter of grasswood spring water. The water in the stream at the mountainside of the Leaning Moon Mountain is all grasswood spring water. If you want it, I can fetch some water for you now." Jin Qi secretly glared at the young girl who walked forward. She didn't expect that in her 2 seconds of absent-mindedness, someone would immediately interrupt. When the girl saw Jin Qi staring at her, she also stared back. Jin Qi still couldn't understand why Lin Yuan wanted the mahogany tree core and the abundant grasswood spring water at the mountainside. However, he still quickly interjected. "Lord Lin Yuan, I will bring you the grasswood spring water halfway up the mountain." Lin Yuan was speechless. He had guessed correctly. The spiritual ingredients he needed were very rare outside, but he did not even have the qualifications to enter the Radiant Moon Palace's treasury. How many liters of grasswood spring water would there be in a stream? It was frighteningly rich. Upon seeing Lin Yuan nod, Jin Qi immediately prepared to head to the mountainside of the Leaning Moon Mountain to collect the grasswood fountain water. When he was about to leave, he suddenly thought that if he went to fill the spring water, wouldn't he be giving others a chance? Jin Qi's eyes turned, and she pulled the girl who had just interrupted and said, "Qian, come with me to collect grasswood spring water. Since Lord Lin Yuan needs it, we will store more in the treasury." The girl called Sissy was dragged away from the Radiant Moon Palace by Jin Qi unwillingly. In Jin Qi's eyes, Qian was obviously more competitive than Wen Yu. Lin Yuan didn't understand the young lady's thoughts, let alone guess. Now, only Wen Yu was left at the entrance. Lin Yuan waved his hand and said, "Don't worry. I also happen to need some other spiritual materials. Why don't you help me get them?" Wen Yu stepped forward and bowed, waiting for Lin Yuan to continue. Lin Yuan wrote down the spiritual ingredients he needed on a piece of paper. The spiritual materials were required to evolve Genius and Chimey to the legendary grade. Genius and Chimey might not have a suitable willpower rune, but they could evolve to the legendary grade in advance. Wen Yu took the paper and quickly said, "Lord Lin Yuan, these spiritual materials are available in the treasury." "Lord Lin Yuan, these spiritual materials are all available in the treasury. Would you like to wait here for me to go in and get them for you, or would you like to go in with me?" Lin Yuan didn't have anything to do anyway. "Let's go in together." After entering the Radiant Moon Palace's treasury, Lin Yuan saw all kinds of spiritual materials placed in boxes of various materials on the shelves. According to the characteristics of different spiritual materials, the equipment used to store the spiritual materials was especially particular. Lin Yuan was a little dazzled by the amount of spiritual materials. Wen Yu was obviously very familiar with this place. In just a short moment, she had arranged all the spiritual materials that Lin Yuan needed and stored them in a face storage box. Lin Yuan took the face storage box and was about to follow Wen Yu out when Wen Yu suddenly coughed violently. Wen Yu quickly used a handkerchief to cover her mouth, but the handkerchief was still stained with some blood. It was obvious that she had coughed it out earlier. After the violent coughing, Wen Yu quickly turned around and bowed to Lin Yuan. "My apologies, Lord Lin Yuan. I was rude." While speaking, Lin Yuan could see that Wen Yu was a little apprehensive. Lin Yuan looked at Wen Yu and said, "There's nothing rude about it. There's nothing impolite about that. How can a person not get sick after eating so many grains?" Wen Yu smiled apologetically. Lin Yuan couldn't help but recall the conversation that had been brought to his ears by the wind. He suddenly asked, "The competition for spirit attendants should be very intense, right?" Wen Yu quickly nodded and said, "If they don't meet the standards, they will lose their qualifications as spirit attendants." After Wen Yu answered, she didn't expect Lin Yuan to suddenly say something that surprised her. "The competition for spirit attendants is so intense, but you still have to risk damaging your roots to save someone. Is it worth it?" When you didn't expect the conversation that night to be heard. Lin Yuan's sudden question left Wen Yu at a loss for how to answer. Her talent was originally in the top 3, but after saving someone, her roots were damaged, and her results fell behind. She was at the bottom and was almost certain to lose her qualifications as a spirit attendant. At that moment, not only was she being suppressed by her companions, but even the people she had saved were slowly distancing themselves from her and even suppressing her. This was the naked truth. However, Wen Yu wanted to ask herself if she regretted it. Perhaps she regretted it. But at that time, she didn't even think about it and rushed forward without looking back. Was she stupid? It seemed a little stupid now. However, no matter how stupid or regretful she was, it was her true self who had done those things. Lin Yuan saw that Wen Yu was biting her lip and didn't say anything for a long time. He suddenly smiled. After being bullied and suppressed, it would be unreal if she didn't hesitate to say that she didn't regret it. A true and kind person was hard to come by. Lin Yuan turned around and waved his hand. "In a while, help me send the grasswood spring water to my pavilion. I'll go back first." On the way back, Lin Yuan heard the mother of Bloodbath say, "Why? Are you going to treat her injuries because of your compassion?" When speaking, the mother of Bloodbath's tone had a hint of mockery. For Fays, compassion had long been indifferent to Fays that had reached their current position step by step. As a Fae, it had walked step by step to its current position and had long since become indifferent to compassion. Natural selection and survival of the fittest were the ironclad rules among Fays. Lin Yuan shook his head and said, "The path is chosen by oneself. Naturally, one has to persevere and grit one's teeth to continue walking." After Lin Yuan finished speaking, the mother of Bloodbath didn't say anything and continued to lie on the leaf. At that moment, the mother of Bloodbath heard Lin Yuan speak again. "But I want to tell her while I have the ability. Her original intention of choosing the path previously wasn't wrong." After speaking, Lin Yuan walked forward with determination. The moment Lin Yuan finished speaking, unnoticeably, the red spider on the leaf trembled, and the aura around it unnoticeably softened. Baiduan read the latest chapter of Beast Evolution Merchant Claw Bookhouse for free. In a contest between creation masters, apart from competing on the creation master's professional ability, it was also a contest on the creation master's ability to resist interference and mental quality. When a creation master was concocting the spiritual ingredients, a single sound or disturbance might cause the concoction to fail and waste the spiritual ingredients. It might even affect the phase evolution and quality. When Lin Yuan returned to the pavilion, he took out all the spiritual ingredients he had obtained from the Radiant Moon Palace's treasury and carefully checked them. After finding that there were no problems, he placed them on the table. Lin Yuan had to be extra careful when it came to improving his phase quality. He first went to soak in a hot spring to wash off the dust on his body. He then changed into a set of clean clothes and prepared to upgrade the Jasmine Lily, Chimey, Genius, the Spirit Gather Goldfish, and the Blue Flash Purple Butterfly. Lin Yuan had never had the chance to upgrade a phase quality from epic to legend. Naturally, he didn't know how difficult it was to upgrade an epic fae to legend, but he knew that it wouldn't be easy. Now, Lin Yuan was finally going to experience it. Lin Yuan currently had a total of 7 fays, but Morbius quality couldn't be manually upgraded. He had to upgrade the spirit-locked phase quality. Red Thorn also had to rely on devouring flesh to evolve. Therefore, Lin Yuan could only upgrade the Jasmine Lily, Chimey, Genius, the Spirit Gather Goldfish, and the Blue Flash Purple Butterfly. Lin Yuan pondered for a moment. Since he had chosen to go into seclusion to upgrade the phase quality in one go, he decided to upgrade the Jasmine Lily first. Lin Yuan went to prepare a purple clay pot and poured the revival soil inside. He then took out 2 mahogany tree cores, which were of superior quality among the mahogany tree cores. When looking at the dark red mahogany tree cores, Lin Yuan couldn't help but touch them. The dark red mahogany tree cores were filled with dense tree patterns. The mahogany tree cores were the heart of red pines. Every year the red pines grew, there would be an additional tree pattern on the mahogany tree cores. Looking at the tree patterns on the mahogany tree cores, Lin Yuan knew that the red pines that produced the mahogany tree cores were at least 100 years old. Lin Yuan picked up a crystal bowl and placed the mahogany tree cores into the crystal bowl to grind and crush them. He then poured the crushed mahogany tree cores into the revival soil and stirred them carefully. Immediately after, Lin Yuan planted the bronze X/epic jasmine lily in the revival soil that was mixed with the mahogany tree core powder. The jasmine lily quickly took root in the recovery soil mixed with the mahogany tree core and began to absorb the nutrients. The jasmine lily was originally very verdant. As a succulent plant, the jasmine lily's fleshy flower was crystal clear and had a light fragrance. The closer to the center of the flower, the more verdant it was. When one looked over, one would feel that the center of the jasmine lily's flower looked like a jadeite with a good head. When Lin Yuan saw that the jasmine lily had taken root, he started to slowly pour in the grasswood fountain water. When the grasswood fountain water had moistened the revival soil and the mahogany tree cores, Lin Yuan stopped pouring in the grasswood fountain water. Lin Yuan then circulated his spiritual power to enhance the jasmine lily. Every time the jasmine lily absorbed the grasswood fountain water in the soil and dried up the revival soil, Lin Yuan would add a small amount of grasswood fountain water. When the jasmine lily absorbed the revival soil, the mahogany tree cores, and the grasswood fountain water, it became increasingly verdant. However, after Lin Yuan enhanced the jasmine lily for a few hours, he sensed the jasmine lily's state and realized that it would be a huge project for the jasmine lily to reach the legend grade. Lin Yuan entered the Spirit Lock Spatial Zone and enhanced the Jasmine Lily in the Spirit Lock Spatial Zone's Spirit Chi environment. Time ticked by. Apart from eating and sleeping for 5 hours a day, Lin Yuan had been enhancing the Jasmine Lily all the time. 5 days later, apart from a little bit of revival soil, the powder from the 2 mahogany tree cores had been used up. Lin Yuan had also used up 1 liter of grasswood fountain water. At that moment, the jasmine lily had also stopped absorbing the energy in the purple sand pottery pot. Lin Yuan realized that the jasmine lily's grade had evolved to the legend grade. Lin Yuan let out a deep breath and wiped off the fine sweat on his forehead. After enhancing the jasmine lily's quality from epic to legend, Lin Yuan had a plan. It would require around 5 days of intensive nurturing in the Spirit Lock Spatial Zone to evolve a bronze phase quality from epic to legend. Baidu would be the first to read the latest chapter of Beast Evolution Merchant Claw Book House for free. Chapter 123. Lin Yuan was rubbing his temples with his fingers in deep thought. For the past 5 days, Lin Yuan had only slept about 5 hours a day on average. The rest of the time was used to enhance the jasmine lily, which made Lin Yuan very tired. This was because he needed to circulate the spiritual power in his body at all times during the enhancement. He would need to sleep for at least 5 hours a day to offset the consumption of such spiritual power circulation. Of course, this was under the premise that Lin Yuan had consumed a bowl of silver stamen gold luster cassia nectar to wash out all the impurities in his body. If Lin Yuan had not consumed the silver stamen gold luster cassia nectar, his body would not have been able to withstand such a strong enhancement. While in deep thought, Lin Yuan suddenly stood up. He asked someone to find a silver/epic fey and brought it into the spirit lock spatial zone for enhancement. Lin Yuan realized that it was really difficult for him to enhance a silver/epic fey to legend. This was because he had spent 2 days in the spirit lock spatial zone to enhance the silver/epic fey. Looking at the state of the silver/epic fey, Lin Yuan knew that his hard work in the past 2 days was almost a drop in the bucket to evolve the silver/epic fey to legend. If he wanted to do it, he would have to stay in the spirit lock spatial zone for at least 2 months without rest. The current situation made Lin Yuan even more aware that he was completely different from other creation masters. Other creation masters wanted to enhance phase from epic to legend. The higher the phase grade, the easier it would be. However, Lin Yuan was the opposite. The lower the grade of the fey, the easier it would be for him to enhance it from epic to legend. Given Lin Yuan's current strength, it was not enough to enhance a silver/epic fey to legend. If such a thing were to spread, it would probably subvert the views of other creation masters. If Lin Yuan raised his hand and auctioned off a bronze/legend fey, it would probably cause a sensation in the Radiance Federation. All the major factions in the Radiance Federation would probably come to fight for it. After the experiment, Lin Yuan asked someone to take the silver/epic needle-tailed squirrel out. Then, he went to the Radiant Moon Palace's inner palace to find the Moon Empress and told her about his intention to enter seclusion. Then, he entered seclusion in the pavilion. He used over 20 days to upgrade Genius, Chimey, the Spirit Gather Goldfish, and the Blue Flash Purple Butterfly from Bronze/Epic to Legend. Rounding it up, it was a month's time. Lin Yuan had finally upgraded his 5 contracted phase from Epic to Legend. Lin Yuan was already very fatigued. Apart from ensuring that he had enough time to recover his stamina, he had been enhancing his phase quality. This made Lin Yuan feel very tired. However, the joy of seeing his contracted phase quality rise from epic to legend was hard to describe with words. He had watched Genius, Chimey, the Spirit Gather Goldfish, and the Blue Flash Purple Butterfly evolve. Now that it was at legend, the phase appearance didn't change much. However, his essence, chi, and spirit had all improved significantly. Intelligence's fur became softer, and its memory became better. The cloud patterns on Chimey's feathers were even more obvious, and its exclusive skill, Clear Sky's scorching characteristic, was even more intense. Her voice had also become more pleasing to the ear, and her singing had clearly improved to another level. However, Chimey didn't know that after disappearing for over a month, its fans had gone completely crazy. As a phenomenal host, Chimey's gif had covered the screen, and countless people had been intoxicated by its singing voice. Many people guessed that Chimey was an absolute beauty that only wanted to rely on her talent to make a living. In addition, Sequence 87 of the Radiance Sequence, Lord Ranger, had supported Chimey crazily. After defeating his opponent on the Celestial Stairway, he had publicly expressed that he liked listening to Chimey's songs, making Chimey even more famous. However, Chimey, which was like the sun in the sky, had suddenly disappeared without a sound. Furthermore, it had disappeared for a month. Countless posts on the Star Web were discussing this matter, and there were all kinds of speculations. The disappearance of the Sparrow Voice Lowly Goddess had become a popular news in the Radiance Federation's entertainment news. The spirit-gather goldfish had a unique prowess when it swam, which Lin Yuan had felt from Long Tao's Sea King Cretaceous dragon. However, the prowess on the spirit-gather goldfish was still very faint. This prowess was the unique dragon might of dragon species phase. The blue flash purple butterfly's scale powder had become more delicate and light, making it easier to spread. The light refracted by the fluttering scale powder was like a light purple rainbow with a base, which was exceptionally beautiful. Lin Yuan stretched and immediately lay on the bed to have a good sleep. He slept for an entire day, making up for his previous hard work and allowing his body to recover to its most energetic state. This was because Lin Yuan was going to start fusing the jasmine lily with the willpower rune and evolve it into a fantasy breed. Lin Yuan held his breath and summoned one of the 3 willpower runes in his spiritual spatial zone. This willpower rune was what Lin Yuan had felt when he was looking at the Green Mountain. A big fire had burned the plants on the Green Mountain to the point where not a single blade of grass could grow. However, the continuous drizzle had allowed the Green Mountain to grow new green after a few months. In Lin Yuan's opinion, rather than saying that the rain was silently moisturizing things, it was better to say that the plants had strong vitality. The wildfire could not burn, and the spring wind would blow again. Perhaps the grass roots left in the mountain rocks would complete a life's praise in a few months' time, a new life of greenery. Looking at this green mountain-shaped willpower rune, Lin Yuan shot it toward the jasmine lily, which was already at bronze X/legend. In an instant, the bronze X/legend jasmine lily's flowers suddenly swayed. They were very eager to embrace this mountain-shaped willpower rune. The instant the willpower rune fused into the jasmine lily, the willpower of the Green Mountain will never change, and everything will be reborn, was suddenly transmitted, causing the jasmine lily's body to emit an emerald light. The jasmine lily's originally short branches suddenly shrank and disappeared. The jasmine lily's flowers popped out one after another, and in just a short while, the jasmine lily looked like it had almost turned into an emerald green bouquet. The flowers were close to each other, as though they had formed the shape of a mountain. The unique fragrance of the jasmine lily became richer. Lin Yuan exclaimed. The jasmine lily was actually growing in groups. Succulent plants were very unstable when they grew and evolved, and there was a small chance that they would mutate. Growing in groups was a kind of basic mutation of succulent plants. After growing in groups, succulent plants would give up a portion of their evolution potential and strengthen their current genetic model, evolving the current genetic model toward perfection. Due to Morbius' spirit lock, the jasmine lily only had one ability, and that was heal. In other words, the jasmine lily gave up on the possibility of more abilities and used it to strengthen its current heal. Baidu was the first to read the latest chapter of Beast Evolution Merchant Claw Book House for free. Chapter 124. It was impossible to control the mutation of a succulent. It was impossible to control the mutation of living in groups. Most people's contracted succulent plants did not like to live in groups. This was because most phase abilities would get stronger in the later stages, and there were very few exceptions like the blue flash butterfly. However, it was different when Lin Yuan's jasmine lily could only use one ability. After the jasmine lily grew in groups, each flower could release healing energy. This was the same as turning the jasmine lily from a single target healing to a group healing. Each flower was equivalent to an increase in the number of healers. Just as Lin Yuan thought that the jasmine lily was about to complete its evolution into a fantasy breed, the jasmine lily's originally round petals suddenly developed into an irregular shape. In just a moment, the bottom layer of the jasmine lily and those flower heads had all grown into an irregular shape. Only the largest jasmine lily's flower was left on top without any changes. This sudden change made Lin Yuan involuntarily cry out in surprise. After the jasmine lily grew in groups, it actually underwent the rarest form of succulent plants. Fasciation was also a type of mutation, and it belonged to the most irregular type of mutation among succulent plants. It allowed the plant's body to develop and grow unpredictably. At the same time, Fasciation was also the most precious type of mutation for succulent plants. Lin Yuan had never heard of a fasciated jasmine lily, as fasciation could only happen when a succulent fae evolved into a fantasy breed. Almost no one would choose to evolve a basic fae like the jasmine lily into a fantasy breed. Therefore, Lin Yuan's fasciated jasmine lily was most likely the only one in the world. The fasciated jasmine lily's petals grew layer by layer, destroying the flower's original structure. Therefore, the emerald green in the middle of the jasmine lily scattered to various parts of the leaves. Looking at it now, it looked like a lingering emerald haze, just like the mist of supreme-grade jadeite. The unchanging jasmine lily's flower at the top had become the size of a bowl. At this moment, the jasmine lily was considered to have truly evolved into a fantasy breed. After Lin Yuan's jasmine lily evolved into a fantasy breed, he immediately used the jasmine lily on himself. When Lin Yuan felt the surging vitality pouring into his body, he was actually dazed for 3 seconds. Due to the surging vitality, Lin Yuan suddenly had a feeling like he was lying on a soft big bed when he was the most sleepy. It was like he wanted to laze in bed in the morning and would not be woken up no matter what. Lin Yuan considered himself a strong-willed person, but it was still very difficult for him to recover from this extreme happiness. When he regained his senses, he looked at the jasmine lily and couldn't help but have an idea. The jasmine lily's heal was clearly a healing skill. However, it seemed like it could be used as a control skill. The sense of bliss produced by the comfortable feeling in the bookstore and the absent-mindedness was actually a kind of unexpected control. After some experiments, Lin Yuan finally knew where this sense of happiness came from. Using the flower of the jasmine lily that hadn't undergone its fasciation to treat him would only allow him to quickly recover from his injuries. He wouldn't be able to experience the blissful feeling of having his vitality replenished to the extreme. However, when those irregular flowers were used for treatment, a sense of happiness arose spontaneously. It seemed that the embellishment had mutated the jasmine lily's heal skill. When Lin Yuan looked at the exclusive skill that appeared after the jasmine lily became a fantasy breed, he could not help but stare blankly at it in his hand. Normal Spirit Lock, Jasmine Lily, Bronze X/Fantasy I ability, Heal, recovers injuries and replenishes vitality. Exclusive skill Frowny Face Recovery Imprint, stores the healing energy that the jasmine lily normally releases. The contractor can activate the imprint to release the stored healing energy. Severed Growth, comprehend the mystery of plant growth. Even a severed limb's rich vitality can slowly continue to grow. What kind of superb item have I evolved into? The fantasy breed's exclusive skill, Severed Growth, could use surging vitality to activate the body's cells' memory factors. Thus, it could achieve the ability to regrow severed limbs. Of course, this kind of severed limbs only referred to the hands and feet, or even the arms and thighs. If one's head fell off, one could only die immediately. Even an immortal would not be able to do anything. Unless one's head fell off due to laughter. Now that Lin Yuan had his first fantasy breed fae, the first thing he did was to upgrade the jasmine lily. Lin Yuan originally thought that it would not be difficult for him to upgrade a jasmine lily from bronze to gold. However, when it came to upgrading a fantasy breed fae, Lin Yuan found that it was simply terrible. Lin Yuan entered seclusion for another month before he painstakingly upgraded the jasmine lily to silver. Now, Lin Yuan seemed to suddenly understand why the earlier a fantasy breed fae evolved into a fantasy breed, the greater its potential. Energy was conserved, and the injection of so much spirit chi for a month only allowed the fantasy breed to evolve from bronze X to silver, crossing a threshold that could be broken with a touch before evolving into a fantasy breed. The spirit chi would not vanish into thin air, so this massive amount of spirit chi was absorbed by the fantasy breed jasmine lily. The massive amount of spirit chi laid down a foundation was naturally much stronger than the phase that evolved from bronze to fantasy breed. During this period of time, Lin Yuan had been in seclusion and evolving phase in the Spirit Lock spatial zone all day, which was driving him crazy. Life wasn't just about the present, but also poetry and the future. The past 2 months had given Lin Yuan the capital to step into the world, and it was time to see the world. Only by seeing the world would he know how to live like a gorgeous summer flower. Therefore, Lin Yuan decided to go to the endless forest outside the imperial capital for a wild harvest. The fays that creation masters enhanced weren't all artificially reared. Some of the rarer fays were collected in the wild. Creation masters would use spiritual ingredients and other methods to attract fays, using the spirit chi contained in the spiritual ingredients to let wild fays get close to humans. After a series of enhancements, they would then be sold. Lin Yuan didn't have to go through so much trouble. Lin Yuan just needed to circulate his spirit chi and place his palm on the wild fae, and the pure spirit chi would quickly gain the favorable impression of the wild fae. Lin Yuan was preparing to open his own store in the royal capital. Although he hadn't opened his store yet, it was imperative to harvest some rare fays in advance. Otherwise, Lin Yuan couldn't always pick up endangered fays with damaged roots. Not only were such fays hard to find, but even if he found high-grade fays, Lin Yuan wouldn't be able to heal them. Moreover, the pure land of bliss in the Spirit Lock spatial zone already had a cinnabar sweet osmanthus and a recovering cinnabar osmanthus haworthia. If he were to bring in some other fays with damaged roots, the pure land of bliss in the Spirit Lock spatial zone wouldn't be big enough. Moreover, Lin Yuan was still waiting to consume the cinnabar osmanthus haworthia's fruit to enhance his spiritual energy. Increasing his spiritual energy was what Lin Yuan urgently wanted. After tidying up, Lin Yuan was ready to set off. Lin Yuan planned to settle down the store once he returned to the royal capital after this wild harvest. He wanted to read the latest chapter of Beast Evolution Merchant Claw Book House for free. Chapter 125. He looked at the sky and saw the rosy clouds in the royal capital's red sky, which was particularly eye-catching. The fiery clouds made the sky seem exceptionally high and vast. It was already dusk. Since Lin Yuan had decided to go out and did not plan to stay on the Leaning Moon Mountain for a long time, he simply went to the Radiant Moon Palace to bid farewell to his master, the Moon Empress. Lin Yuan had just left the pavilion when the Mother of Bloodbath opened its eyes on the beam and jumped onto the leaf-shaped face storage box hanging in front of Lin Yuan's chest. It continued to lie motionlessly and comprehend the law runes that it controlled. When the Moon Empress saw Lin Yuan in the inner palace, her eyes lit up. This seclusion has been going on for over 2 months. Did you gain anything during these 2 months? Lin Yuan touched the back of his head and smiled brightly, revealing a mouthful of white teeth that was full of youthful aura. I can't return the gains from this seclusion. To Lin Yuan, this seclusion had increased the quality of his 5 fays from epic to legend. Furthermore, he had obtained his first fantasy breed fae, which was considered a huge and important gain. Upon hearing that, the Moon Empress smiled and nodded. She had always admired Lin Yuan's character, but she did not expect him to be so hardworking in cultivation. Nowadays, there weren't many people in the younger generation who could seclude themselves in their houses for more than 2 months without going out. Ever since the Moon Empress had taken Lin Yuan in as a disciple, apart from teaching him the corresponding knowledge, she had not asked him about his creation master or spirit chi professional advancement speed. On one hand, it was because she felt that the initiative in cultivation still depended on one's own consciousness. On the other hand, she did not want to give Lin Yuan pressure, so she had not asked. Since the Moon Empress did not ask, Lin Yuan did not mention his level. Whether it was because he had 3 willpower runes or the jasmine lily that had evolved into a fantasy breed at bronze, the Moon Empress was his master. The Moon Empress was his master. If the Moon Empress asked, he would naturally tell her and wouldn't intentionally hide it. However, the Moon Empress did not ask, and Lin Yuan was an introverted person, so he naturally would not take the initiative to reveal it. Lin Yuan felt that it was fine as long as he knew how capable he was. After all, these were his means and not capital to show off. If it was someone else with Lin Yuan's ability, they would have already publicized it. Previously, he had been afraid of revealing too much of himself, which might lead to the saying, "The tallest tree in the forest will be destroyed by the wind." However, now that he had the Moon Empress as his master, he naturally did not need to be afraid of these things. With the Moon Empress around, no matter how strong the wind was, Lin Yuan's tall and straight small tree would not be disturbed in the slightest. Moreover, the suzerain/myth mother of bloodbath was always by his side. If someone still dared to have any ideas about Lin Yuan, that person would have to worry about himself. After chatting for a moment, Lin Yuan explained to the Moon Empress the reason for his visit. Upon hearing his words, the Moon Empress raised her hand and handed him a dark brown beetle-shaped accessory. There was a pin at the back of the accessory that could be hung on his body. At a glance, Lin Yuan recognized that the beetle-shaped accessory was a diamond face storage box. However, this beetle-shaped face storage box was dark brown in color, and there were some dark green patterns on it, making it look a little strange. It wasn't as pretty as the leaf-shaped diamond face storage box. Lin Yuan took this strange beetle-shaped diamond face storage box and listened to the Moon Empress explanation. This diamond face storage box contains all the wealth that Qin Zhao has accumulated as a pinnacle class for creation master for so many years. When he attacked you previously, take the things in this face storage box as a way to calm your shock. Lin Yuan looked at the Moon Empress' concerned eyes and didn't refuse. He then put away this diamond beetle-shaped face storage box. When he put it away, Lin Yuan took a look at this diamond face storage box. He realized that there were no spiritual ingredients that he didn't recognize in this diamond face storage box. There weren't even any spiritual ingredients. It was all a massive amount of radiance dollars. Lin Yuan had previously used his star web card to transfer his purchases, so although he knew what physical radiance dollars looked like, he had never used them before. Now that he looked at this diamond face storage box, there was a small mountain of bottle cap-sized amber button-shaped radiance dollars. Lin Yuan felt that this glance was really a little shocking. He didn't know how many radiance dollars there were in this small mountain. A pinnacle class for creation master's wealth really couldn't be underestimated. After sitting for a while, Lin Yuan was about to bid farewell when he heard the Moon Empress say softly, "The road in the future is very long, and the sky is very wide. The road ahead is long, and the sky is wide. Whether or not you can fly to the highest, furthest, and widest place is all up to you. Remember, no matter what happens in the future, Master will always be your support." When Lin Yuan heard the Moon Empress' words, his eyes felt warm, and a feeling of being protected rose from the bottom of his heart. Lin Yuan was used to being independent, but he cherished this feeling very much. After bowing respectfully as a disciple, Lin Yuan returned to his pavilion and prepared to set off the next morning. Previously, Lin Yuan was still thinking about where he should open his store and how much area he should buy. He still needed to make some choices. However, with the wealth in Qin Zhao's diamond face storage box, Lin Yuan had more choices if he wanted to open a store, and he didn't need to worry about expenses. As a creation master, Lin Yuan might have a strong ability to earn money, but he still lacked capital. With capital, Lin Yuan wouldn't need to be restrained in anything he wanted to do. After Lin Yuan left, Cold Moon went forward and saw that the Moon Empress had been looking in the direction Lin Yuan had left. "Moon Empress, are you worried about Lin Yuan?" The Moon Empress shook her head, picked up the teapot on the table, poured a cup of tea, and took a sip. "It's not that I'm worried, but I'm proud and a little reluctant to see my disciple want to venture on his own." Upon hearing that, Cold Moon said softly, "Moon Empress, didn't you exchange all of Cheng Wu's accumulated wealth for radiance dollars to give Lin Yuan the capital to venture on his own? Moon Empress, you've put in a lot of effort." The Moon Empress shook her head and didn't continue to say anything. After taking in a disciple, she finally understood the true responsibility of a teacher. The continuation of life and the passing of the torch were never as simple as it sounded. It was a kind of relationship that might not be as close as blood, but it could already rise to the level of blood kinship when they became master and disciple. At that moment, Footsteps came from outside the palace. Mystic Moon walked into the inner palace and bowed. Moon Empress, Chengwu has been in the sin cleansing pond for 2 months and just died. The Spirit Guard's Chief Guard Yi and Patrol Envoy Iron Prison are asking you how they should deal with him. The Moon Empress stood up and was about to walk to the breeding room. Her cold voice carried a sharp chill. He's already dead. What else is there to deal with? Let them handle it themselves. After Qin Zhao was hit by my moon essence, he was still able to survive in the sin cleansing pond for 2 months. How can I let him live if he wants to harm my disciple? You can't even survive in the pond of cleansing. Baidu read the latest chapter of Beast Evolution Merchant Claw Bookhouse for free. Chapter 126. The next morning, Lin Yuan left the Leaning Moon Mountain early and traveled light. Everything was stored in the diamond face storage box hanging on his chest. It had to be said that it was really convenient to have a diamond face storage box. Last night, Lin Yuan had sent a message to Lu Jia and told him not to have so many concerns when choosing a store. If he wanted to choose a store, he would choose one that was bigger and had a relatively good location. Lin Yuan no longer needed to worry about money. After leaving the Leaning Moon Mountain, Lin Yuan's goal was very clear. This time, Lin Yuan called for a speed-hoofed donkey cart and headed to the Guild Alliance. This Guild Alliance was not an official organization like the Creation Master Association or other lifestyle class spirit chi occupation guilds. The Guild Alliance was an alliance formed by countless guild clubs in the Radiance Federation that relied on the combat class spirit chi occupation guilds. Lin Yuan was going to register and get certified in this Guild Alliance. After registering in the Guild Alliance, if Lin Yuan wanted to go wild, he could join some guild club teams and form a temporary team. He could even accept and issue missions in the Guild Alliance. If the Star Web was the Radiance Federation's second world and carried the second world's industry, the Guild Alliance was the place where most combat class spirit chi professionals lived, worked, and trained in the real world. Accepting and completing missions would allow one to obtain a large amount of commissions. If there were bosses that issued missions, one could obtain the spiritual ingredients or phase that one needed as soon as possible with sufficient rewards. There were also many creation masters that needed special spiritual ingredients and would issue missions to the Guild Alliance. Some of the high-reward missions would even be accepted by famous guild club teams. Of course, in most cases, the phase in the Guild Alliance's missions were all basic rare phase. If one wanted to evolve a rare phase or increase its quality, one would need to look for a creation master. If there was a place where creation masters were the most respected and supported, it had to be the Guild Alliance. In the Guild Alliance's independent teams, the combat class spirit chi professionals were mostly low-level and didn't have outstanding aptitudes. They might work hard for 1 or 2 years just to increase the phase quality or grade. Most of the truly talented or stronger spirit chi professionals had joined club-like guilds. If a talented person wanted to be selected by a powerful club guild, the best way was to reach the 80th floor of the Star Tower or even the Celestial Stairway. This was because the powerful club guilds would choose to recruit new blood in the Star Tower. The Radiance Federation revered martial arts. Throughout the year, there would be competitions between various club guilds of all sizes. Every year, the Guild Alliance would cooperate with the Radiance Federation's officials to organize a tournament for the entire Radiance Federation's guild teams. It was commonly known as the S-Tournament. The S-Tournament was considered a competition for the younger generation, and the contestants could not be older than 30 years old. It was almost the same age as the Radiance Federation's Radiance 100 sequence members. In the S-Tournament, some of the truly powerful guild clubs would participate. These guild clubs' main teams would more or less have Radiance 100 sequence members. The Radiance 100 sequence members were the most dazzling star contestants in the S-Tournament. In fact, some clubs' main teams were made up of Radiance 100 sequence members. Each guild could only send one team, and each team had 5 members. Every team had to participate in various knockout rounds and qualifiers. In the end, 16 teams would be selected to compete on Star Web under the eyes of all the Radiance Federation citizens. The 16 teams that qualified had a ranking, and the top 3 teams would be divided into the champion, runner-up, and third-place teams. They would all receive different levels of rewards from the officials and obtain supreme glory. However, people would often only remember the champion. After all, since ancient times, there had been a saying, there is no first place in literature, and there is no second place in martial arts. There was no difference in academics, and hundreds of schools of thought could contend. However, in martial arts, the strong and the weak would be clear at a glance after a fight. Lin Yuan had arrived at the Guild Alliance's entrance and gotten off the speed-hoofed donkey cart. Lin Yuan looked at the lively and prosperous scene in front of him and touched the back of his head. It was said that the Guild Alliance was the most lively place in the royal capital, and it seemed to be true now. When Lin Yuan entered the Guild Alliance, he realized that many people's eyes were focused on him. One of the Guild Alliance's receptionists came up to greet him enthusiastically and also looked at him with burning eyes. Soon, Lin Yuan found out where the problem was. It turned out that these people were looking at the Class 2 Creation Master crest hanging on his chest. It seemed that Creation Masters would be particularly eye-catching no matter where they went. At this time, the Guild Alliance's receptionist said respectfully, "Lord Class 2 Creation Master, are you here at the Guild Alliance to issue a mission or to hire a guild club team?" Lin Yuan hurriedly shook his head. "This is my first time at the Guild Alliance. I plan to register at the Guild Alliance." Upon hearing Lin Yuan's words, the receptionist's face immediately lit up and he hurriedly replied, "Yes, sir." "Then, my lord, please follow me to the VIP reception room." After that, the receptionist hurriedly led the way. The receptionist was overjoyed. Although Creation Masters would issue missions in the Guild Alliance, they only needed to be authenticated in the Guild Alliance. Very few Creation Masters would choose to register in the Guild Alliance. This was because the purpose of registering with the Guild Alliance was to be able to accept quests. If a Creation Master wanted to earn money to concoct spiritual ingredients and nurture phase, they wouldn't need to accept missions from the Guild Alliance. If any of the Guild Alliance's receptionists could receive a Creation Master and help the Creation Master complete the registration in the Guild Alliance, they would receive a considerable commission. This commission was almost equivalent to the receptionist's monthly salary. Therefore, Lin Yuan's registration was completely great news in the receptionist's eyes. When Lin Yuan entered the VIP lounge, he removed the Class 2 Creation Master crest that was hanging on his chest without leaving a trace. At the same time, he summoned Genius and let it undergo tool transformation. Genius tool transformation had 2 forms. One was a pair of glasses, and the other was a pair of glasses that turned into a mask. This time, Lin Yuan chose the form of a mask. Chimey turned into a silver-white mask with clear and shallow patterns that perfectly fitted on Lin Yuan's face. After putting on the mask, Lin Yuan's entire aura changed. He was still a sunny big boy previously, but after putting on the mask and the black spirit chi clothes, he looked very calm. Soon enough, Lin Yuan completed his business at the Guild Alliance. Lin Yuan's business was also very simple. He just bound the other Star Web card that he had obtained when becoming a Class 2 Creation Master to himself. Then, he bound his identity as a Creation Master to the Purchase with No Loss store. At the same time, he transferred his Star Tower climbing account to the other Star Web card. Baidu was the first to read the latest chapter of the Imperial Beast Evolution Merchant Claw Bookhouse for free. Chapter 127. From then on, Lin Yuan had 2 identities on Star Web and in the Radiance Federation. One was a Genius Class 2 Creation Master, Lin Yuan. His other identity was Mr. Black, who was fighting in the Star Tower. Black was the name Lin Yuan had just given to his other identity. Lin Yuan's actions were essentially the same as separating his identity as a creation master and a combat class spirit chi professional. After completing the registration and certification, Lin Yuan waved his hand when he saw that the salesperson still wanted to follow him. "I'll go take a look myself. You go and receive the others." After speaking, he walked toward the mission location. After seeing that Lin Yuan had walked far away, the receptionist muttered, "That's right. Such a young Class 2 creation master is actually a healing-type spirit chi professional at the same time. Such a combination is simply making me jealous." That's right, Mr. Black was certified as a healing-type spirit chi professional. When he arrived at the mission location, he was ready to find a team to head to the Endless Forest. As a result, he found that almost all the teams were looking for healing-type spirit chi professionals. In this somewhat noisy mission location, there were quite a few people yelling. 2 power offense-type spirit chi professionals, 1 defense-type spirit chi professional, and 1 support-type spirit chi professional. "We are waiting for a healing-type spirit chi professional. 3 Fires Guild Club, 3 guilds working together to capture a gold Phantom Lynx youngling, 14 waiting for 1. They were lacking a healing-type spirit chi professional. If you come, we'll let you be the boss. The Cedar Grass Guild Club's team is going to the Endless Forest to capture 10 silver black-back mountain boars. We are taking advantage of the price of pork to earn a huge sum of money. We are waiting for a healing-type spirit chi professional. Please, healer dad, healer mom, hurry up and join the team. After joining the team, you can take 30% of the total profit." Lin Yuan could not help but secretly raise his brows. Healing-type spirit chi professionals are really popular. Lin Yuan had known that healing-type spirit chi professionals were rare. According to the Radiance Federation statistics, only 1 out of every 100 spirit chi professionals had an affinity with a healing-type fae. Upon hearing the data, Lin Yuan could only sigh at the rarity of healing-type spirit chi professionals. However, when Lin Yuan was in the Guild Alliance's mission area and saw that all the teams were looking for healing-type spirit chi professionals to join them, the concept of healing-type spirit chi professionals became clear. A healing-type spirit chi professional was simply treated like a boss in every team. If one wanted to harvest good stuff in the Endless Forest, they had to go deep into the Endless Forest. Clearly, this Cedar Grass Guild Club's team had gone to capture the silver black-back mountain boar. It was impossible for them to venture deep into the Endless Forest, because there were black-back mountain boars in the periphery of the Endless Forest. Recently, a Class 2 dimensional rift had opened above the Radiance Federation's largest pig farm. This dimensional rift was very close to the Radiance Federation's largest pig farm. Almost all the life forms in the dimensional rift would fall into this pig farm when they emerged from the dimensional rift. The tens of millions of pig species phase in the pig farm had been killed and eaten by the dimensional life forms almost instantly. In the end, the situation was under control, and the life forms surging out of the dimensional rift were killed. However, the Radiance Federation's largest pig farm had suffered a heavy blow. Tens of millions of pig species phase had died, causing the price of pork to double. Therefore, there were teams of spirit chi professionals everywhere to catch pigs in the wild. The pigs were mainly used for reproduction, and a small number of elderly pig species phase that couldn't reproduce would be used as meat. After all, old pork was more fragrant. At this mission location, there were plenty of lone spirit chi professionals looking for teams. As lone combat class spirit chi professionals that often ventured into the wild, as they always had to integrate into various teams, most of them had developed a friendly personality. When one of the burly men who was also looking for a mission saw Lin Yuan standing there, he took the initiative to go forward and speak passionately. "Little brother, instead of waiting for a mission here, why don't you take the initiative to talk to those guild teams that need members?" Lin Yuan turned around and saw the burly man looking at him with a straightforward expression. According to the burly man, Lin Yuan understood that those guild teams seemed to be more popular than the scattered teams. At a glance, it was indeed harder for scattered teams to form a spirit chi professional than guild teams. Most of the guild club teams were waiting for a healing-type spirit chi professional. Many of the scattered teams had given up on forming a healing-type spirit chi professional, but the 5-member team was still not complete. Upon seeing Lin Yuan nod, the burly man laughed heartily. "This is your first time looking for a team and accepting a mission, right?" Lin Yuan couldn't help but be curious. How did this burly man see that it was his first time accepting a mission? Did he really look like a newbie with a mask on? "Why are you so sure that this is my first time accepting a mission? I might be a veteran." The burly man pointed at the spirit chi clothing that Lin Yuan was wearing and spoke with some envy. Who would wear this kind of spirit chi clothing on an adventure? If this clothing is scratched a little, then the money earned from this mission won't be enough to subsidize the clothing. "Young man, your family is rather well off. Do you need a veteran to guide you? If you need, I can." Lin Yuan then knew where the problem was. However, when he heard the burly man say that he could, Lin Yuan suddenly felt a slight chill on his back and blurted out, "No, you can't." When the burly man heard Lin Yuan's rejection, he shrugged and didn't mind. Immediately after, he looked at a guild team not far away and pointed with his finger. "Isn't there someone wearing spirit chi clothing on an adventure?" Upon hearing Lin Yuan's words, the burly man reached out and patted the chain armor on his body. "This is the clothing that should be worn on an adventure. They are wearing spirit chi clothing because they are healing-type spirit chi professionals and are the boss of the team." Lin Yuan reached out to touch the back of his head and looked at the burly man who patted the chain armor on his body. "How do you know that I'm not a healing-type spirit chi professional?" The burly man rolled his eyes angrily. "If you were a healing-type spirit chi professional, you could still find a team here. The Guild Alliance's reception staff would have already received you and helped you find a team that requires healing based on your purpose." At that moment, Lin Yuan recalled the reception staff that had been following him. When Lin Yuan saw that the reception staff had been following him with a hesitant expression, he realized that the reception staff was trying to help him find a team. When the burly man saw that Lin Yuan didn't continue speaking, he laughed heartily and patted Lin Yuan's shoulder in a friendly manner. When a newcomer is looking for a team, it is best to find a team that doesn't require combat. It is best to gather some basic spiritual ingredients and familiarize yourself with the wilderness environment. If you recklessly accept a Fey capturing mission that requires combat, you might get injured and even implicate the team. Unless you are a healing-type spirit chi professional, the other team members will do their best to protect you. The burly man had already determined that Lin Yuan was a newcomer, so he spoke very seriously. Lin Yuan naturally understood this logic, but he still expressed his gratitude for being reminded by a stranger. When the burly man saw that Lin Yuan had listened, he wanted to encourage Lin Yuan again, but at that moment, he heard the noise in the mission area suddenly become softer. Baiduan wanted to read the latest chapter of Beast Evolution Merchant Claw Book House for free immediately. You're tuning in to the Blissful Bookshelf YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.